Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause of sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
to see you guys here this morning. I'm Bullhorn Betty, and we cover true crime. Come on in, sit on down, grab yourself a cup of coffee. We've got a lot to go over. We're covering a lot of different things on today's show. We've got an update on Diane Keaton. As many of you guys know, she's a legendary actress out there in Hollywood. Many of us grew up watching Diane Keaton and her very uptight skits, and she was very well known. Many people didn't realize, well, I'm sure people do. Hollywood's a mess, right? Everybody in Hollywood's a mess. And she struggled with bulimia and some other things, but this wasn't what took her out. She had complications with breathing. They're saying pneumonia. I think something else, because when I heard what happened to Diane Keaton, it sounded very, very, very familiar to me, because I had, dealt with another person that just up and lost their life unexpectedly, and that was Diamond. Diamond and Silk, very well known in the conservative movement, very quirky, bubbly personalities, very loud personalities, and because they were traveling, they were required to have the jab. And Silk believes to this day that is what killed Diamond. I was at Diamond's funeral. I knew Diamond and Silk. I have their very first Diamond and Silk shirt that they released with their work that they did originally. It was a purple shirt. I still have it. I will always have it. There's a lot of things that I have that I'm keeping as keepsakes from this era of our country. This is going to go down in the history books, no doubt. The things that are going on right now in our country, we've never seen or heard from it previously. These are all new things. Maybe there were some things done previously, but it's on steroids at this point. So I know that there is a lot of historical, and I beg of you guys, to keep these things. If you guys get magazines with this, keep those things, okay? Those things are going to be very, very, very valuable when we are getting dead, when we're dead and old, right? Old or dead, I guess we should say, right? When we pass those things off to our family, those things are going to be very valuable. These are historic memoirs and tokens that we all can have. If you guys see behind me, I've covered it up with green now, so we don't have any feet. You guys can't see my towel, right? You guys can't see my towel. Fixed all my green screen stuff. Got some extra lighting in here, so we still have some flickering of stuff, but it's being brought down now that I've got the green screen, the lighting, and everything else kind of hitting right. It looks a lot better. I think we're going to appreciate this lighting. I've had toned down, so I'm not so bleached out in the face and stuff like that. But we're going to get started this morning. We've got some indictments. I know that the way these things are looking, because they're indictments, because this is criminal, because we are true crime, I want to explain these things to you, because I don't think many people understand politics or understand what's going on here or what's going on in the state of affairs with our government, because what they're trying to say is that we're going to an authoritarian. Look at what Trump's doing. He's going after the people that attacked him. That's all he's doing. This is just revenge. No, it's not. These people tried to take over our country. They tried to enact a coup. What they did was treason, folks. Like, this is historical. That's why I'm saying, if you guys can keep these tokens or memorials, do it, because this stuff is going to be historical, okay? What we're living in right now is history. This event is going to be in our history books, okay? Make no mistake, our future generations that we haven't even met, nor will we ever meet, are going to be talking about what happened during this era of our history in this country. So keep what you can, pass it down, make notes, write stuff down, remember things, pass that stuff off to your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, because this stuff will repeat itself. We need to teach our children and upbringing so this stuff doesn't repeat itself in the future. So thank you for allowing me to take some time and just give you an idea of what's going on. We've got new updates on Kada Scott We've got some new updates on Sebastian Rogers, and I didn't put in the updates today for Lily and Jack Sullivan. We may do an update on them tomorrow, but for all intents and purposes today, we're just going over a few minor things, minor news segments. Then we have the indictments, we have Kada Scott, the Tennessee explosion, the indictments, and then, of course, Sebastian Rogers. But we're going to kick it off right now with some information about Diane Keaton. Diane Keaton, she is a legend. Where the heck did I accidentally? Hold on here. There it is. Okay, and then we're going to go over to stuff that happened in the state of Florida, in my county. You guys are going to, Tuesday I will be back in meetings, okay? Tuesday I'll be back in meetings because I am, live it. We're going to go over why is Bullhorn Betty so angry, right? I'm angry at my peeps. There's a reason why I'm angry at my peeps. Okay, so they're saying that, pneumonia, it's a lung infection that caused Diane Keaton's death. They put a question mark on it. Again, what they described here literally is exactly what Silk described about Diamond. That she was having some breathing problems, nothing really major, and then all of a sudden her breathing just stopped. And that's what it sounds like is being described here. Okay? That's what it sounds like is being described here. So I just want to read it for you. And I bet you if you ask Silk, she'll tell you what she believes it is. But, again, she didn't say anything on stage. It's just this under the radar thing that, there was something she said at the funeral that made us really say, Sonia, kindness is more important than wisdom, and recognition of this is beginning with wisdom. Theodore Isaac Rubin, thank you for that. Very sweet, love that. I'm gonna keep that up for a little bit. So it says, beloved Oscar-winning actress Diane Keaton died from pneumonia, according to a statement her family shared with People magazine. It was not clear if she had any underlying health conditions that contributed to her death. She was 79 years old. Here's everything we know about the lung infection and what caused. I just don't believe it. Pneumonia is an infection that inflames the sacs on both of the lungs, and so are some of the other things. And you got to remember, you've got a lot of capillaries in your lungs. And I'm sorry, but we've known of capillaries just exploding for no reason. These sacs are filled with fluid and pus and causes cough and phlegm, fever, chills, trouble breathing, according to the clinic. Usually pneumonia is, curable, but as you get older and you age, your body starts not doing as well. It's more serious for infants and people over the age of 65. What causes pneumonia can be caused by a variety of pathogens, such as bacteria or viruses. The immune system typically prevents these germs from causing infection in the lung, but some still evade the body's defenses. Patients can develop pneumonia while in the hospital for other reasons. It is possible to contract aspiration pneumonia, which happens when somebody inhales food, drink, vomit, saliva, and other, and is more likely in people who whose gag reflexes are functioning abnormally. What are the symptoms of pneumonia? Chest pain. It's hard to breathe. Coughing, fatigue, fever, sweating. I think we've all had a bout of pneumonia at some point in our life. At least for many of us, we most likely have. How does pneumonia cause death? Is it true that pneumonia tends to be more severe in people who are very, very young? So in infants or older adults, that seem to be the age demographic that tends to experience severe disease. But it contains it can affect anyone. Keaton's case, even if she didn't have any underlying conditions, that doesn't mean that perfectly healthy people can't become very ill and rapidly with pneumonia. Pneumonia is a very common cause of sepsis, which is a severe infection that causes an overwhelming reaction in the body to try to treat the infection. The body is trying to kill the infection, but as a consequence harms the body itself. So It sounds like the problem is in the lungs, but I know these people took the jab, and so I always wonder because, there are people that I know that they're not telling you this, but there are people that have taken the jab and have lost their life just unexpectedly. Start having coughing, it's still being able to breathe, and then goes from that to full obstruction and just keels over. At least that's what was expressed with a Diamond. Her sister kind of went through what happened that morning with Diamond, and it was very scary, and she had similar symptoms. And I guarantee you, if you ask Silk point blank, does she think the jab did it, she'll tell you yes. I'm just bringing that up. As I always tell you, our state here. Oh, hey, Seth, it's nice to see you. Our state here, we have issues ourselves. Many of you guys know I speak very often, occasionally about the work I do in the county. I haven't really done a whole lot of work in the county. Usually when I'm in the county, I usually show you guys some of the work I do when I'm there. You guys haven't seen those videos come up. We haven't talked about the work I've done because I got pissed off and I walked out, which happens. If I get a board of county commissioner where I feel like I'm hitting my head against a wall and nothing's getting done, no matter what we do, they're just going to make the decision themselves. I've got a corrupted board, okay? I've got a corrupted board, and there's nothing I'm going to be able to say or do inside those rooms that are going to change that corrupted board. They're going to do whatever the hell they want to do without the, they're acting like they're taking in, public comments, but our public comments are falling on deaf ears. Okay, this is a conservative board. This is a conservative board in my community. Now, mind you, I'm a generational here. Most of those people on that board did not come from this county. We're never living in this county. And so, not that I look down upon them, but I do look down upon them in part because you're not from my community. You weren't here. My family has been here before we had counties. Okay? I just want to put that into perspective. My family was here before we had county lines. My family was here for a long time before we were even a city. Okay? There were no taxes when my family came here. We didn't need to pull permits to build houses. Okay? That's when my family established their homestead in this county. Okay? So just to let you know where my history comes from in this county, I'm 46 years old, and I was born 10, 15 minutes down the road at Manatee Memorial Hospital, okay? 46 years ago. I'm not that far from where I took my first breath, okay? I know that many people are like that. But at the end of the day, I take pride in my community, and I hope all of you do too. But I walked away because they were doing the county wrong, and there was nothing I'm going to do, and I'm not going to argue with these pinheads, okay? I know what needs to happen. They don't want to do it. They want to fight with me and the rest of the people in this community. Fine. I will remove myself from the argument. I will go around them, over them, or under them. I do a lot of political work. I do a lot of political work in the dark. I work best in the dark when I'm doing these things. And at the end of the day, I have not been there because we hired these people when we had Carol Whitmore and $500 million in hidden silos while they were raising the taxes of people. So we brought in a new team of people to spend that money down and to reduce the taxes of the people in this county. Where, our property values started going through the roof, they started collecting hand over fist property taxes. Instead of lowering our taxes, they went on a spending spree in our county. Now, you guys know I'm a cheap bitch, okay? I like things functioning, but I'm not building a country club for everybody to come and hang out here in Manatee County, okay? I don't think it's my responsibility or the taxpayers in this community to be paying the lavish lifestyle of people that want to have fun on the weekend, okay? That's not my problem. That's not what our government is here for. And I've said it over and over and over in those meetings, and nobody wanted to listen. So I removed myself from the argument. I've worked very tirelessly behind the scenes to get shit done, and now I'm ready to go back to the rooms and start laying down the law for Manatee County because this is bullshit. $112 million pissed away. Even our CFO of Florida tells our county that they could have given us our money back. So now we've got, instead of them giving us money back, saving us time and effort, no, they stole the money from us, spending it on all of this bullshit to put their names on these things that mean absolutely nothing to the residents of this county. And now we've got our garbage that's only being picked up once a week, and we've been removed. Now, mind you, they're collecting more money than they ever collected in the history of Manatee County. And they reduced our recycling. They reduced our garbage pickup. I've got maggots crawling out of my garbage now when I've never had that problem before. And I lost my once-a-year trash pickup. Meanwhile, remember that $500 million I told you was in a silo? Well, when they did this Doge, they found $749 million, almost a $250 million more than what we had when they started, which we wanted them to spend down the money and reduce our taxes. So they've increased our taxes. They made our services worse. And now our Doge is telling them that they have fraud, waste, and abuse in my county, which I knew. That's why I left the rooms, because I do not argue with pinheads. Okay? What I will do is I will work to remove you from that board. I do not screw around when it comes to my community. I'm not screwing around when it comes to this community. And you're going to see head spin on my Manatee Board of County Commissioner. I want George Cruz gone. That's number one. And I will get that accomplished. I want George Cruz off. And first person that we've ever endorsed, the Front Row Joes endorsed, George Cruz. I want him off the board. And Amanda Ballard, she's she answers directly to me and people in this district, and I want her off the board. You're going to find that I'm going to be very successful in those feats. So we have fraud, waste, and abuse in my county. Fraud, waste, and abuse in my county, which I knew, and that's why I left the rooms. All right, thank you for allowing me to bend your ear. This is why it's so important, and the reason why I'm bringing it to you is I want you guys to get involved in your we had audits. We had major audits all around, because we're removing people that own their homes should not be paying taxes on their home after they've fully paid their home off. We shouldn't be paying property taxes. Our homes are paid for, right? Our homes are paid for. So I just don't see why we're doing that, and we're paying money on our property values that we haven't even realized. Like they're fake property values. I mean, until you sell the home, it's just a paper gain. You know? Yet we're being taxed on this paper gain, this fictitious paper gain. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's robbing us blind, and obviously our politicians can't handle managing those funds. Otherwise, I wouldn't have $112 million worth of fraud, waste, and abuse in my own county. And you know why I put this on my show. You guys know why I put that on my show. Because I want to smack my county's ass all the way to the frickin' bank. All the way to the bank. We knew it was going on. They didn't want to listen. Now they get to listen to me for the rest of the year. Okay? Until the elections, and we get some people removed from their office. And not only that, I'm going to start going in there, and we are going to start reducing our bureaucrats in Manatee County. Watch Bullhorn Betty work. Watch Bullhorn Betty work. I'm done. Gloves are off, Manatee County. Gloves are off. All right. So, folks, we have been covering the case of the explosion. We had a horrible explosion out in Tennessee, and this was at an AES production line facility. So AES deals with explosives and higher combustible items for industrial needs, military needs, law enforcement needs, from being able to be used in construction and bringing down buildings, to being used in law enforcement to breach doors, to being used in the military, to defend the nation, right? To defend the nation. So they had a major contract. I think it was $220 million or $120 million contract that just happened 2 weeks prior to this explosion. It may have put a target on their back in all reality. It may have very well put a target on AES, especially if it was broadcasted or publicized in any way. And this is one of the reasons I truly believe. Hey, Gigi, it's nice to see you, Mama. Let me just go through here and say hi before we get started on, because we're going to be here for a while. I've got a lot to go over with the explosion. Is it the explosion? I think the majority of this stuff is explaining some of the political stuff, and then we'll dive into Sebastian and go over that. Skylar, it's nice to see you. Me and you. Patty, it's nice to see. Oh, Decor and more. Hello, my love. I hope you're doing well. Sonia up in the house. Seth Rogers. If you don't know who Seth Rogers is, he is the father of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, which we're going to be discussing a little bit further into this show. And he's been missing his son for almost 2 years, and he is looking for any information that will bring his son home. So we'll be going over the details of that, like I said, in a later segment of this show today. Me and you, it's nice to see you. Carmela, good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. Furball of Love, what's an FAFO audit? It's called Florida Doge. Florida Doge. We are auditing the crap out of our system right now. Mama, it's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Gigi, Common Sense, good morning. Dolly, it's nice to see you. Denise, good morning. Good morning. And Debbie, a big shout out to Debbie. I don't know what name she goes under on the system, but she needed some prayers. I prayed over her. She had some back issues. She was worried. Long story short, she's pulled some things and she's hopefully going to make a full recovery. But if you guys have an extra prayer to throw around, please throw it around for Debbie. I'd greatly appreciate it. Tanya, it's nice to see you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And please don't forget, we do have a goal going. And so far we have 2 people with the goal. I really do appreciate it. So show some positivity and some love if you guys would really like to help get to our goal. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. And if you guys could, if you don't have anything to give other than yourself, don't forget to hit that like button and possibly share this video with somebody that you care about that needs to be updated on the real world issues going on around us. So as I stated, we do have, now that there are some people that have been verified as deceased in this Tennessee blast, where this was a production line. It appears that there is still some active explosive items in the rubble. So as you can imagine, that's probably some pretty, a Silk Man, it's nice to see you. Good morning. It probably would explain, Crystal Pistol, it's nice to see you. It would probably explain to you how uneasy many people are working this site. Oh, Pat, thank you. How's it going? I love it. I love it. Thank you for that. Thank you. Where's your hype button? I can't find it. It's not on lives. It's only on videos. Don't worry. I'll be dropping some videos. I'll be making some portrait videos, not this stuff. I'm going to be on, I got to start building I kind of took a hiatus, all right? I kind of took a hiatus over the last month. As you know, my videos went down, my lives went down. I really needed to be focusing on myself. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on in my prior personal life. All of that stuff is finally winding down. And I just took a moment. Oh my gosh, Mama Bear of 10. We were just talking about you. We were just talking about you. It's nice to see you. Big hugs and loves. So we're going to be kicking those videos back off. We're going to start dropping several videos throughout the day. We've got the political side. We're building up the political channel. I'm going to be starting to do 1 or 2 topic political topic videos. All the other news that's criminal in nature, like these indictments and stuff, they're going to be on my crime channel. So, because they're crimes. Anyways, let's get back. We know Diane Keaton lost her life through pneumonia. Now we're moving over to Tennessee blast victims. We found out yesterday through rapid DNA that they have positively identified 14 of the 16 victims at the site. And now today we find out one of the victims has now filed a wrongful death suit. This one is going to hurt a little bit, and I understand why this one was the first one. Because as you guys know, we learned of a father that, like every normal Friday, dropped his little girl off at his mother's house. He was a single dad taking care of his daughter. And so he, took his daughter over to his mom's, said, "Love you, Mom," went off to work. And a short while later, she found out that there had been an accident. And so, as like many other victims' families, I'm sure she picked up the phone and tried to call her loved one. And it probably went straight to voicemail, right? Because every item most likely was destroyed. I mean, we're looking at a building that was leveled. And I want to bring this, for people to understand, like, there was equipment in that building. We see no equipment, okay? We see no equipment on the ground. We don't see printers. We don't see computers. We see debris. We see almost an entire concrete building turned to dust. I don't know the condition of the victims in this case. I mean, we know that they're deceased, but I'm talking about, do they have the victims to bury? Or, I get so concerned because I worry that some families might be watching this, and this has got to be absolutely excruciating, right? These people were so innocent. This appears to be a terrible accident, but what if it's not? And, the reality of it is we don't see printers or computers there. We don't see an assembly line. So it makes me wonder about the people, their condition. I'm not going to say any more than that. I think that's pretty explanatory. If you need me to draw you a map, then you probably need a little... I don't want to be disrespectful. Maybe you guys aren't getting it, okay? Maybe you're not getting it. I think that's good enough. Are you going to be doing more TikToks? Yes, Dolly, I'll be doing some more TikToks. I'm going to be over on my TikTok channels. I've been doing TikToks. I mean, I haven't stopped doing TikToks. It's just, I stopped doing lives on my TikToks. And those are the ones, doing the lives is what, pushes my videos. So all of my videos from that channel to this channel, there's a lot of good that comes from TikTok. If we have a breaking case, I usually try to break it on TikTok before I break it here because it just has the ability to get in front of so many more people. You don't get, and don't get me wrong, it's not a money thing because it doesn't matter if I got in front of 1 million people. You don't make money on TikTok, okay? It's crap. The only way you make money is people donating to you and giving you gifts. I don't run my channel like that. Other people do. I don't. It's more for information, but it's the ability to get in front of those people. When we're dealing with true crime, we need bodies to look at the cases. When we have a missing person and it's all hands on deck, we need a lot of eyes on that case. So, I can get a few thousand over here on TikTok or over here on YouTube, but I can get, depending on how I make up my video, I can get millions of views over on TikTok, just by, putting some stuff. I'm not going to tell you guys my secret, whenever I do it, but you guys can go over there now and you guys can see there's a difference in my numbers than what once was because I'm not doing the things that I do. I'm just throwing stuff out there at the moment. I'm not really trying to get it in front of people. So there's a big difference there. At the end of the day, we have this case. I didn't run it on TikTok. But I will be doing more videos on TikTok. we learned about this. Let me just get back on track. So we learned about this case. It was breaking news. I was laying in bed, and all of a sudden, all this news starts popping up on my phone saying, explosion in Tennessee, and naturally, my curiosity gets the best of me, and I'm like, an explosion in Tennessee, and I look at this place, and I'm like, what am I looking at here? I had no idea that there was a building sitting there. And when it started, it's those split second things of like, what am I looking at here? What happened? You don't know what you're looking at, Hey, Leslie, it's nice to see you. Phil, good morning. Pat, good morning. It's nice to see you. You didn't know what you were really looking at. And so you have to read the article, and it's like, holy crap, this was a facility that went kaboom. And I didn't even know what advanced energetic, systems or whatever it was that, I had no idea what they did. You're listening to this, and naturally, I think everybody's in today's environment. I think naturally you hear kaboom, you naturally have a preconceived notion that, there's some type of terroristic threat, which is sad. But we don't get a whole lot of bombs going on in America unless it's provoked by some whacked out person, either overseas or domestically, right? But we don't get cases like somebody going to work and their whole entire building going kaboom. In this case, that's what happened, and nobody knows anything. Everybody that was inside that building are deceased. Nobody can tell us where the original explosion started. Nobody can tell us how the building was leveled, because nobody survived whatever happened there. This could be one of two things. This could be a terrible, tragic accident where somebody made a mistake, and it could have been just as simple as somebody having a heart attack while holding something that they shouldn't, that was explosive in nature, and keeling over and causing the It could be something that's simple, that somebody had a medical event, and this is the result of that medical event. It could, but at the end of the day, it could be a tragic accident, or it could be foul play. And the fact that they just got this, I know that in the back of their mind, they've got to be looking at this as possible foul play. They have to be looking at this as possible foul play. 2 weeks ago, they had just signed on this huge deal, $120 million. And then 2 weeks later, one of their whole buildings and production lines is turned to dust. Is turned to dust. At 7:45 in the morning, kaboom! Kaboom. Well, one of those victims was a single dad, and again, he dropped his daughter off at his mother's house and went off to work, and she will never see him again. His daughter lost their father. Now, I don't know why he was the single dad. I don't know what the dynamic was in her upbringing, if her mom lost her life, if her mom, if her dad got custody of her because mom was kind of out there. We know that there's a lot of great dads out there that are single dads. Okay. I know that once upon a time that was very, very, you never saw single dads. It was always moms with the kids. But nowadays, a lot of the fathers are taking custody of their children. For a variety of reasons. Mom's ill, mom's sick, mental illness, substance abuse, alcohol abuse, violence inside the home. There's a lot of reasons why mom's with a bad guy, that's doing terrible things to the child. She won't leave him, so child goes and stays with dad. There's a lot of variety of reasons, but he was a single dad, drops his daughter off at his mom's house, and then boom, he goes to work and never comes home again. So this lawsuit, this $12 million wrongful death, this is only one of many. This is only one of many. Has now been filed on behalf of that 9-year-old girl that lost her daddy. We read the story yesterday about her dad. We read this story yesterday about his mom and father, and going to the home and realizing that he'll never walk back in those doors again. It's just a hopeless and helpless feeling that there's nothing you can do. You had no choice. You didn't get an opportunity to watch them go. Like with cancer or with, old age, you get to take them, hold their hand into that next step of their journey. And in this particular scenario, they were robbed of that. These people went to work and never left their job. They didn't even know. It happened so quickly. None of them knew what happened. They were just here one minute and gone the next. Sorry, I got goosebumps literally all over my body over this case. This is just, it really, I mean, it's going down my legs and everything. It bothers me. I mean, it's just that I don't like empathy because I don't know what these people are going through, but I sympathize with what they're going through. I don't understand it, but I can definitely tell you I know that it has to be very painful. And while I don't understand that pain, because I think that pain is for different people, I don't know. I don't know. So anyways, we got the first of many lawsuits starting to be filed. I don't know where this lawsuit's going to go. I really don't. And this is a wrongful death, and I'm not sure. I don't think that they prematurely filed this. I think they're placeholding, but this could be something different. The investigation's not complete yet. Hey, Elisa B. Always, it's nice to see you. As a single father, sometimes we get a bad rap. Yeah, for being a guy. Yeah, I get it. I've seen a lot of fathers have to take their children into bathrooms. I remember my dad used to be so uncomfortable. He ended up, he had to take me into the guy's bathroom whenever I was younger. It just is what it is. It's the true meaning of you can be here one minute and gone the next. That's why I live by that, because sadly it's very true and very real. Praying for them all. Amen to that. Amen to that. Yep. So it says, so let me just read this for you guys. Less than a week after the explosion that killed 16 people in Tennessee, and attorneys have filed multi-million-dollar wrongful death suit on behalf of a victim's surviving 9-year-old daughter. Authorities released the names of those presumed dead this week. One of those victims was Jeremy Moore, whose daughter is now being represented by Hughes and Coleman, according to the press release of the law firm. The lawsuit accused the facility owner of being responsible for the explosion due to gross negligence and is requesting up to $12 million in compensatory and punitive damages. Those killed were hardworking, devoted employees who should enjoy their life, said Lee Coleman of Hughes and Coleman. Instead, their loved ones are planning funerals and memorials for them in their memory. So I and I kind of felt like this was a terrible accident, but we don't, they were cited for some things back in 2019, but they've never personally had an explosion under the AES name, but they did have one from another company called Rio Munition or Rio Ammunition. The explosion on Friday leveled a building, an accurate energetic systems, an explosive process plant in McEwen. Officials say it could take months to determine the cause of the blast. They are still working to identify remains at the scene, so they still haven't collected all the remains, folks. This is a disaster of epic proportions, and we can absolutely agree with that. This is a disaster of epic proportions. It is very sad. The explosion involved ultra-hazardous material, and the devastation it caused impacted dozens, if not hundreds, of lives. The loved ones will remain in mourning for years, and our clients are still shocked by the horrible tragedy. The law firm said it is partnering with Armstrong Lee Baker and Tyler Bryant PLLC to investigate the explosion, because this is going to cost a lot of money for these attorneys to they're saddled with all the investigative costs, and if you don't know how expensive investigative costs are, they're very expensive. I would hope that they're going to reach out to Ken Kinsey. I like Ken Kinsey. I think he is phenomenal in reconstruction. I don't know if he has the ability to do explosion reconstruction or not, but if he does, he would be my first recommended person out there. And this is in Tennessee. He covered the case. He helped in Alec Murdaugh's case. So he's fairly close because South Carolina to Tennessee is not too far away from one another. So hopefully they get a hold of Ken Kinsey. I like Ken Kinsey. I think he's great. The child's mother and her friend Cheyenne Tari brought the suit on behalf of Moore's daughter. So her mother and her friend brought the suit. So it sounds like the mother is still involved with the child's life. Cheyenne describes him a very active father, and that she and Jeremy had a great co-parenting. So they were co-parenting. Attorney wrote in an email to WSMV. The suit is directed at AAC Investment LLC. According to the state business record, the McEwen business was first filed in 1980 and registered under John Sunday, whose address is the same as the listed on the AES website. According to records from January say that the LLC has 2 members. The lawsuit alleges the defendant, AAC Investment LLC, who is listed as the owner of AES, is responsible for the explosion. The explosion occurred because defendant AAC failed to maintain a reasonably safe factory for fabrication, storage, and handling of explosives and explosive materials, court documents say. Now, this is interesting because I think that this right here might explain why, even if this was, say, a terroristic threat or situation, why they would be doing this is because maybe it wouldn't have been maybe they wouldn't have been able to level the building if they had different storage protocols, like like maybe concrete or steel, or some type of insulated rooms that if there was an impact, maybe impact resistant rooms for the storage of these hazardous materials. So if something did happen, like a car drive through their building, or somebody drops some explosive material on the floor and it goes kaboom, it can't affect the rest of the other ingredients inside that building. Maybe that's what they're referring to here. I'm unsure, but I think this is how they were able, because they're saying maintain reasonably safe factory for fabrication, storage, and handling of explosive and explosive materials. The suit accuses AAC Investment LLC of gross negligence, saying among many complaints at the facility failed to maintain safety rules, recognize and remediate hazards, warn of known hazards. So there may have been some complaints, in-house complaints, that people are talking about. After something like this happens, remember, they had 80 employees. 16 of those employees are now deceased. So they still have all those other employees that are probably speaking about some of the complaints that they've had at their job. They're probably scared to death because that could have been them. They're probably speaking up a lot louder than many people think, because of what they went through. I don't know. Again, I don't know. Just a thought. Defendant had actual subjective awareness of risk, but proceeded with conscious indifference to the right, safety, and welfare of the defendant. AES facility initially published a statement on its website in the aftermath of the blast, calling the incident a tragic accident. And I knew when they said that was going to be, that's basically liability. And that's where I said, I don't really think that this is a a situation where, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I said I don't believe that this is um an attack. That this is not that it's because of AES's statement that this was a tragic accident is the reason why I believe that it wasn't foul play. So it was basically, they basically acknowledged it. That is acknowledgement. Since then, the organization has updated its websites to call it a tragic explosion, and say that the company is committed to learning what caused the unprecedented tragedy. So after they made their initial comments, I'm sure their legal department reached out to them and said, no, you need to walk that back. You need to be careful what you say, because they're acknowledging, right? And now they're trying to change it to tragic explosion versus tragic accident. Big difference. Legal-wise. The organization says it's focusing on supporting its team, their families, and our communities as we grieve together. When reached for comment, a representative of Accurate Energetic System sent WSMV a copy of a statement linked to the above and added that they cannot comment on pending litigation. So they did send this complaint over to them and just basically said we cannot comment on additional, pending litigation, which that's the stance of many companies when they are in litigation. We already know from yesterday that 14 of the 16 victims were identified with the DNA, the rapid DNA. So we do know that 14 of those 16 victims are truly confirmed to be deceased. I'm pretty sure they will find the other 2 victims, and those will also be confirmed as well. So that's really what we have right now on the blast victims. Let me go ahead and pull this back and see if we have any comments on those blast victims before we continue to move on to our next segment. Aw, good morning, ladies. SRK, it's nice to see you. Crystal, good morning, love. I hope you're doing well. I think everybody's just saying good morning. See if I have any questions here now. Okay, so it looks like we're good on that. So if you're just coming in, I can't remember what day it was now because this has been, my brain's just starting to flip on me. But we came into one of our mornings and we found out that there was a blast at a Tennessee plant. We realized that they made explosive components for military and other industrial needs, and as well as law enforcement, and that whatever happened leveled Delilah, knock it off. Whatever happened leveled the building, and it looked very grim. I when you see a site like that, the possibility, and we discussed it, the possibility of survival that day, we discussed it, with that type of blast that would level a building, even if your body was there, your insides would be liquefied. I mean, it's such a devastating explosion for it to level a building that your human body would not. I mean, think about it. You've got tissue and skin. This building is made of steel and concrete. Okay, the steel and concrete has been raised to ash. What do you think that's doing to a human body? So anybody within that range near that blast is gone. Okay, there were 3 people that went to the hospital, and I have to think that they weren't near the blast, that they received, shrapnel from the blast, and that's why they went to the hospital, because 2 of them were immediately released. Anybody near that blast site was gone. Okay, the building is gone, the equipment is gone. They're looking out there and they're seeing these green canisters, which are bombs, explosives. So they're having to, find these people move all of this debris little by slow because they have active explosives still in that rubble. That means there could still be more kaboom, right? We could still have more casualties as a result of this building. But after reading a little bit about the 9-year-old that is, filing a lawsuit for her father, Jeremy. He lost his life in the blast. They've identified him. He's gone. Okay, he's gone. He's a victim. And they're speaking about safety issues. This is a concern for me. This is a concern. This was the concern from day one, right? We didn't really talk about this case as a case of terroristic nature. We've been identifying this case as one of a fatal accident, a lethal accident, right? Something happened. What if none of these people happened? What if it was something that just got in the air because of horrible conditions? Because I found out that these molecules can explode just from static electricity, go airborne and go boom, right? So I'm learning a lot about explosives over this case. I think maybe we probably should do a show on it. Just so you guys have an understanding of different types of explosives, what they're for, what their manufacturing recommendations are for, what's used in say, industrial buildings, bringing them down versus what, say, military uses, out in the field or in war zones or other places like that. I think that might be some beneficial because, I always believe in education and knowledge, right? I think education and knowledge is our friend. And I think if we have areas of ignorance, I think we should become knowledgeable in that because, at least have some type of information, right? If it's on a topic we have no earthly idea about, we shouldn't be taking other people's, because how are we supposed to hold people accountable if they're telling us stuff and we're believing it, right? And we have no earthly idea. We're none the wiser, so to speak. None the wiser at all. I think that's important. So let me put this on the list. Maybe I'll develop a show on explosives. Let me write this down, because if I don't write it down, then I won't do it. Explosives. Different types. And maybe by that time we'll learn what type of explosives they were manufacturing at this particular building. And the reason why I say that is because we learned that this is building 6, okay? There are 8 buildings on a 1,300-acre campus. This was one building. I do like how they had this, where this building was kind of by itself. There was no other people or buildings around it. I like that design. For this type of business, I think that design saved a lot of lives, okay? I really do, because think about this, folks. This building only had 16 people in it, okay? If they had all 80 people in a large building with several different production lines, can you imagine what we would be looking at right now? It would be, this is catastrophic. And it would have been worse than that. It would have literally been worse than that. The Air Force stores their explosives underground. And let's look at that. Maybe that's what we need to do here. Before I move on to our next story is Kada Scott. Before we get moved on to Kada Scott, let me, site, okay. Let's see if we can get some images here. See, this is, I agree with you. Let me put this up. Oh, it didn't do what I needed it to do. Hold on, let's go here. There it is. But look at this. See, this looks like they had underground storage. What the hell happened? This looks like they had underground storage because this is on top of the ground. This is under the ground. What? Oh my gosh. What if the explosion happened underground and not in the building? But doesn't this look like it has underground storage right here? I mean, because let me take my head off here. Because this looks like it's the driveway. It looks like you're kind of driving right over it, but you can clearly see some posts in here in a cavity. As if there was a cavity, or storage, underground storage. Or maybe that was the problem. Maybe they did have underground storage common sense, and when they had the boom above the storage, it affected the bombs below the storage. Huh. This is interesting. I agree. There's something going, there's something here, but I'm trying to figure out with them storing maybe the government stores their explosives underground a lot lower underground than, like, say, a basement. Like, this looks like maybe the building was on top of like an underground basement or something like that, with just very thin, concrete walls that you would normally see in a basement. Nothing really, cocooned in there, or with steel walls to help keep the elements out, But it definitely makes me very curious. I'm sure over time we're going to find out what truly transpired at this facility. But the unknown, I think, in many of these cases is just killing us, not to know what truly happened here. But it does look like there was some type of storage. But again, it was supposedly a solid concrete slab. If you look, there is no crater. You think that? Well, I'm seeing. Hold on. Let me. Let's pull this up. Hold on. Let's just see what we got here. Let me get this pulled up a little bit bigger. I don't know. It doesn't look like, because I can see the walls. They look like they have concrete walls here, but this looks like a thin floor slab. This looks pretty open. This doesn't look like a big concrete. This looks pretty open. That looks like a possibly. I don't know. Supposedly, so yeah. I think there is. I think that it looks like possibly some type of basement or storage. You can see like the stuff on top of here, right here. It looks like this is part of the road that went over it. But it looks like I'm looking right here at some support beams, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Whenever you're looking at stuff like this, it could be, unless you see it, because I can tell you that just from like summer wells, some of the stuff that you see on videos and pictures and stuff like that, it doesn't do any justice for you, because like with Summer Wells, when we were at her house, it was hard to see the slope. Like, even when we had the camera, we were trying to angle it up. We were trying to take it from the slide, because we wanted to show people how steep the sides of that mountain were out, from Summer Wells' home. She's on the top of a mountain. And it's like going straight. I mean, it's at an angle a little bit, but it's a very steep angle. And so we were trying like hell with our cameras to get that right. It never, unless you're there at Summer's home, you don't understand how steep the sides are. No matter how much we tried to film, what angle we filmed, how we filmed it, it just did not show it justice. Any filming of that property did not show its justice on the slopes of the side of that mountain. In order for you to really get an idea of the Summer Wells property, you have to view it yourself. We tried to capture it as much as we could. Even with our photo, you can see that it's a vast property, our film. But it's the slope, it's the slant, it's showing you that pitch you just don't get. So when I'm seeing this right here, it could be problems with the way that the film is doing. It may not show its true justice. It may be an opening here. It may not be. I don't know. I can't see it for myself. We can look at it. It looks like it has a cavity, but it might not. It could be a basement. It could not. I don't know. I'm hopefully we'll get more information about that in the near future. So, in fact, it's crazy how high the slope is. Yes, it is. It is. But no matter how we tried to film it, you couldn't convey that in film. We tried like heck to convey that in film, and we do show how slopey it is, but it just it's not. It shows you, but it's not to the degree that it really is. It looks like somebody could literally walk down it, and that's just not a fact. It is so steep that you would tumble down the side of the mountain, and you could not convey that in film, no matter how hard we tried. We tried every angle. What we saw and what we were trying to film, the film did not show what we were seeing. And it's hard to explain other than that. So I think the only way we would have been able to get that is to do a drone. And we weren't familiar with drones. Drones, back when we were doing this in 2021, were, we didn't have permission to fly them like we do this day and age. Believe it or not, there's been a lot of changes that's happened since I've started doing true crime, with tools. I've got drones here. I need to learn how to fly the drones. I'm learning now. I'm learning in the house, because I figured if I can learn in the house, then I'll be able to work it outside, because the house is more concerning, right? Like you have to be able to go up and down and move back and forth without hitting anything. And I feel like if I can do that inside a house, then I can certainly do that outside of a house. So I've already got it up. I already had my drone hover. I had to buy a new drone because I buy cheap drones. So my drones are only like $20 or $30 or $40, just until I get, until I get comfortable with them. Then we'll invest in real equipment. But the drone, I missed the little. I threw away the thing that gave me the code, the QR code to download the app on my phone so I could record what I was doing up there. And so I tried every single app imaginable to download for that, and it won't work. So I had to buy another drone for like $40 to download that app so I can have a controller that I can record on, but I can also record on my damn phone, okay? So that's what happened. So now I've got a drone that I can practice with that can't record. I can't get it hooked up to my phone. And then I've got another one that I've got that's cheap that I have that I've never flown before, that actually has its own controller that will record from the controller. I don't even need my phone. I wanted to make sure I had that, but it's, I don't know what the recording's like because it's a cheap item, so I don't expect the recording quality to be that good. But once I learn how to fly it, then we'll go to like a DJI type of one, but those things are expensive. They're like $400 to $700. That's why I don't want to invest in it until I know that I'm not going to, kill it. I have another drone that I got through my Marlboro points years ago, and within one day I broke the propellers on it, right? So I know for myself, buying cheap is the best strategy for me. Once I learn how to fly the damn thing, we'll invest in real equipment. But I'm not investing in real equipment to destroy real money for no reason. I'd rather destroy, $30 or $40 than, $400. That's the way I'm looking at it. That is cheap. Didn't know you could get, oh yes, Walmart and Amazon. You can get little drones. Now they come with crappy batteries. Like you have to buy like 6 or 7 batteries because the batteries only last like 20 minutes. But you charge them all up, you push them, put them all, it does work. It does work. I mean, I'm sure that, like I said, you can get a better quality one that doesn't take so much maintenance to it. These cheap ones, they come with these little batteries that are like this, that you have to constantly be putting in, so you can go up, run it around for a little bit, then you have to bring it down, put a new battery in it, take it back up. It's a pain in the butt. I'm sure like a DJI probably has a better life battery span. I don't know. But yeah, you can go to Walmart and get, like, the first one I think I got it for $32. It had dual cameras on it. So, but it's for kids. Listen, I'm a big kid, right? I'm a big kid now. I don't care. Cheap. I'm a cheap bitch. Okay. You guys know I'm cheap. I'm cheap. So I got the cheap one. And it comes with these weird little battery things. But like I said, I had to buy the second one because I couldn't hook up the controller. So I ended up getting a controller that has the screen on the controller. And can you believe the one, even with the controller and the screen, was still under $40. Still under $40. So if you guys want drones, it's not like you guys got to go to the $500, $600, $700, $800. Yes, on Amazon and on Walmart, they have very much cheap drones. $40 or less. And I just bought mine. Like, several months ago, but I mean, just recently. It wasn't one that I bought like 2 years ago. So I'm talking about recent prices. Was it before the tariffs or after the tariffs? I don't know. I have to think that they were before the tariffs, but I don't think they're that expensive. Maybe I should look on Walmart. Let's see, cheap drones. There you go. Look at that. Right there. Try telling you, they're cheap. You don't have to go all expensive and shit. Oh, Michelle gifted, because I'm a love machine. Michelle gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership, and Lady for Justice received it. Lady for Justice is already part of the family, but that's okay. It's official. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straight jacket and your padded room, and welcome aboard, lady. Welcome aboard. Come aboard. It's nice to see you. Thank you. I'm sure Lady Justice will absolutely love it. But yeah, you don't need to spend an arm and a leg for, if I would have known I could have gotten one for like $12, I might have gotten the $12 one. Maybe it didn't come with a camera. I don't know why I went with the $40 one. I'm kind of a little upset now. I'm a little butthurt now that I know that there's one right there for $12.96. What was Betty thinking? There was a cheaper one, damn it! There was a cheaper one. I don't think it came with a camera. It looks like it comes with a camera. On clearance? For adults? With GPS? I got screwed. Just saying. Damn it. Yes, but you don't need expensive stuff. You don't need expensive stuff. Okay, so we're done with this. Let's get on with Kada Scott. So Kada Scott was reported missing on October 4th, I believe. She's been missing almost 2 weeks now. When we first got the case, we were uncertain. We didn't know who she was. We're looking at her age. We're looking at her accomplishments. She graduated Penn State. She wanted to be an entrepreneur. Whatever. I can't ever say it. It's one word I struggle with. And we, at first thought maybe this was hoax. Maybe she was 20-something. She had been a good kid, Penn State, now working at an assisted living facility at night. Thought maybe she was burning her candle at both ends and maybe just wanted to, go in, clock into work, get paid while she went out with a couple friends and partied. We don't know. I mean, it's not like it's uncommon. It's not the first time we've heard kids, 20-somethings do something like that. But, we started saying, okay, well, if it's not a hoax, if she didn't run off with her friends, and even if she did, she might have met with foul play. We said that as well. Then we started thinking, the family was very vague, friends were very vague, said she was being harassed, leading up to the time of her disappearance. But they said of an unknown, they kept impressing upon everybody, an unknown person, and I don't believe that now. I believe they knew who she was getting the harassing calls from. I think they knew who was bothering her, and they were keeping that from the public, which, we are not entitled to everything. I just like communication from law enforcement, right? And I don't want to get into the integrity of the investigation. That's why when law enforcement fights me on just getting just simple information from them, I have a problem with them. Oh, Kathleen, thank you for being a member, a wonderful member, loving member for 3 months. We definitely appreciate your love and your support of this channel. Thank you, Kathleen. Bless you. So we have, I don't know how to express it other than this is Philly. Apparently they don't like prosecuting charges, even real criminal charges, if they can't get their witnesses to show up. Like I would have been threatening the witness that we were going to perjure them, get them on filing a false police report if they don't show up for their hearing. You don't really want to do that to some, but this was a kidnapping. This is where a guy grabbed her from her freaking yard, kept her in a car for hours to days, and then finally lets her go after beating her up, assaulting her, and doing God knows what else to her, and he's crazy. So if somebody is fearful to be in court, and you're going to punish them by not moving the case forward, it's a little concerning, because I would expect our law enforcement to know that there are people that are scared and terrified. And it sounded like that they were not giving this victim a whole lot of support. It sounds like they were just basically telling this victim to come to court, not addressing her concern or her fear. But I don't know. We're assuming that. I don't like assuming a lot of information. We don't know what happened with the first girl. Maybe she thought it was her fault and didn't want to go through it. Maybe she's on substances and didn't want to go to court. Maybe she forgot to go to court. We have a whole history of things, but we do know that this man did this before. And quite frankly, it's scary. I'm watching this video right behind me. We're about to play it for our audience. We're going to wait until Lisa B. always gets back from her coffee refill. I don't want her to miss it. But this guy is creepy, okay? This is I don't know, creep. This is creep. This is like stay away from this man. But you can still hear the people inside. Yeah, they're going to call the cops and stuff, but they're still, you can tell that even their voice, they don't think this is serious. It's creepy. They're concerned. They're trying to keep him out, but they think that he's just going to go away. Well, he doesn't. He ends up kidnapping somebody. So let's watch this. Let me make sure you got the whole screen. Let's make sure we got the whole screen in here. Let's watch this. I don't want to bring it down too much because then we'll cut some of it off. This guy's pretty scary.
He coming around the window. Go that way, Cameron.
There he is, right there.
Yeah, bitch, go away, bye. Go away, bye. Yep, bye.
Trying to break into the house.
Go away, bitch. Don't come over here. Karen, call the cops.
Look at that.
Call the... Is all these kids...
He comes in and he's like, basically like, I'm coming for you. What you got now? What you got now? They're like, call the police, take your ass on, go away. It's like they're enticing him. They don't realize how dangerous this man is. And there he is, looking in the windows. That's scary stuff. That's a man that has no control, no self-control over his own behavior. And these are problematics that you would expect our DAs to decipher At this point in someone's career, they should know which cases to go after and which you should know at this point in your career when to hold them and when to fold them. This would be one that we would hold them. Okay? We wouldn't fold them because there's enough evidence to prosecute them without the witness. And this is where we need to go. If there's enough to prosecute without a witness, prosecute. Throw it, might as well. I mean, it's versus it going away forever. You might as well just go ahead and prosecute it. Give it a ring. If he gets charged, he gets charged. He's walking anyways. So what difference does it make? What difference does it make? Go to court, go to trial. You never know. They might say, oh, yeah, this guy needs to go. As opposed to not charging him, not following through. And now somebody's dead. Kada's dead, okay? I don't care, we can pussyfoot around with it. But this girl's been missing for almost 2 weeks. The man that abducted her is in jail. They just got the car. She's not in the car, not with him, and she hasn't been on social media or been able to reach her family in almost 2 weeks. She's gone, okay? This is a situation where this man murdered this young woman. And why would he do that? It tells me because his prior one was a prior relationship with somebody he knew that he did this to. So therefore, they had to have known each other. They had to have been talking. They may even have been in a relationship, or maybe he wanted to be in a relationship. Either way, he was the one harassing her, I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Why she left her job and walked out for him, I don't know. I don't know why she would do that. Or did she do that? Did he come into her work and grab her out, yoke her up, and nobody knew that that's what happened? I don't know. I really don't. But something happened to her. I meant I'd get a pew-pew. Well, I'll only get a pew-pew if you're trained in a pew-pew. If you want to get a pew-pew and you've had no training, then you need to go get training before you do that. I'm pretty sure you probably know how to carry yourself, but for the other people in the chat, if you don't, but you're curious or you want protection or something like that, my suggestion is to get professional training. Okay? Don't train yourself. Get professional training by a firearm instructor. So one, how to clean your firearm, 2, how to maintain your firearm, and 3, how to use your firearm, right? It is a tool. It is a tool to be used that will be a tool that will protect you and protect your life. But it could also be a hazard or peril if you're not properly trained in the use of that tool. There's a reason why they make us go through all the training to use the tool of a car, right? A car is a tool. It's a tool that we use to get to and from point A to point B. We can't just get into a car. We're not authorized just to get behind a wheel and start driving. We have to be trained in using that tool, right? And once we're fully trained, we're all very much comfortable using that tool, right? We're not fearful of getting in our car and going to the store. As a matter of fact, we really don't understand how much we're putting ourselves in peril getting in our car and running to the store. Because in a split second, we could be gone in that very vehicle, right? Which is a tool that we use to get around. So you have to be highly skilled in the use of a tool like a car. And the same thing be true for a tool like a firearm. If you're not properly trained to use a firearm, just like if you're not properly trained to use a car, you should not. But once you get trained, then you should use it, and you should use it properly. It's a tool that will save your life if you so choose. Now, it's not for everybody. We understand that. We understand people are just terrified. They'd rather call 911, and for each their own. Nobody's going to criticize you for where you are. Just for me, I just don't like anybody. I don't like relying on anybody, right? That's my problem, because every time I rely on somebody, what does somebody do? They let me down, right? So I don't rely on people anymore. I do the things myself. And so if I want to protect myself, I'm going to take the responsibility to protect myself, because I don't rely on my law enforcement to protect me. I know that my law enforcement, it's going to take them anywhere from 4 to 7 minutes to get to me anywhere in this community, and we all know that crime happens in a split second. So by the time I can even pull out my phone to dial 911, I may already be dead. Okay? So that's the reality of life and just where I live. And so I don't want to be another statistic. I don't want to I trust my law enforcement, but I know there's only so much they can do.
Fox 29 News has learned that 21-year-old Keon King has an active protection from abuse order against him recently from a third young female in effect until 2027.
Wow.
That's in addition to the multiple kidnapping and related charges he's being held on $2.5 million bail on now in the disappearance of Kada Scott and the prior kidnapping case from earlier this year that was dismissed initially by the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office.
Yeah, because you know, you guys don't push these criminal. I'm sick. Listen, I don't know what I can say. I know I offend people often on this channel, and I don't care. You know, at the end of the day, I really don't care because I see things, and whether you want to stick your head in the sand or not, that's up to you. But it's not up to me. And at the end of the day, we have all of these inflated crime statistics out of Democrat-ran areas, okay? You guys have no earthly idea what I was going to show you guys yesterday coming out of North Carolina. It is scary how many people that they are putting back out on their community roads to attack their law-abiding citizens in the state of North Carolina. I came across 5 different stories of people that had over 15 prior violent crime charges put back out on the road, including one young lady that had 15 priors, stabbed 2 individuals, and was released back out on the roads within a matter of hours on a small little $20,000 bond. Prior to that, she had no bond for all of the other 15 accounts. So she left 2 people for dead, and she is now, right now, in North Carolina, walking the streets of North Carolina. Is that somebody you want to live next to you? I'm asking you. Do you want to live next to this woman that could just wake up and stab you and your family to death? Because if you don't, then why are you putting that person around somebody else? Why are you putting that person around all these people that are voting for these laws? I'm seriously asking you. You're not willing to live next to this lady that's just stabbed 2 people and left them for dead, that's now walking the streets again after this being her 15th and 16th charge? I'm asking those people that keep voting for these politicians that enact these laws. If you're unwilling to live next to these people, why are you forcing somebody else to? It's a legitimate question. I hope you answer that question. Please send your answer to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. You know, I get angry, but maybe I need to understand. Maybe that's my problem. Maybe you need to explain it to me. Because let me tell you, I don't want that woman living next to me. And because I don't want that woman living next to me, and it terrifies for me for having somebody like that living next to me, I wouldn't want that person living next to anybody else either. Why? Because if it's not good enough for me, then it's not good enough for anybody else. That's the way I look at it, because we are all created equally. It doesn't mean that, it's not good for the rich part of our community, but it's okay for our poor part of the community. That's the reality of these laws, right? The people making these laws live in hoity-toity areas that have no crime. Meanwhile, when we're already poor and we're already dealing with lack of funds, no protection, and now we're dealing with that level of crime being in our area because those hoity-toity people are making the rules for us, but they don't live where we live. That's the problem I have.
It was refiled this week after King's arrest in the Kada Scott case.
Karen called the cops.
Philadelphia police sources tell me this video, posted on social media and shared widely following King's arrest this week, is part of the evidence in the first kidnapping case, dismissed by the DA's office, showing him walk up to the victim's window.
Keon out here.
Law enforcement sources.
They did not need the witness. That's what pisses me off. They had enough circumstantial case information and evidence that they did not need the witness there on the stand. Is it good? Yes. But if she was, say, deceased or something like that, could they have gone through with this case? The answer is yes. They didn't need her there. They tossed the case because she didn't show up. Not that they needed her. They could have proceeded.
Sources tell me King was also a suspect in a prior rape case involving yet another woman, adding more to their belief that King has a pattern of very bad behavior with.
So we have one that was, and I told you that that this young lady was probably assaulted in that way, essayed. But now we have the first case where he kidnapped the woman, assaulted the woman, strangled the woman. Now we have a third case where he sexually assaulted the woman. So now we have a very clear idea of what happened to Kada. Thank you, Louisiana. And I have to believe that Kada met with strangulation and being sexually assaulted by him. Where is her body? That's what we want to know. Where the hell is Kada's body? Somebody knows where he was. Where's his family and friends? His family and friends would know where he hangs out. Okay, we all know that this man, wherever he dumped her, because statistics tell us that wherever this man dumped her, it was a place he knew about, that he knew he could dump her and be in full seclusion. Now, was it that middle school? It's possible. Could he have driven his car back into an area back there that they haven't looked at? It's possible. I'm not really into all the dogs and the helicopters and stuff being, because I look at the statistics of it, whether people want to listen to me or not, I don't really care anymore. But reality is I learned this from Brian Laundrie's case. Those helicopters that are above that are doing circles in high foliage areas and highly dense like forestry type areas, those ground, the sonar, the stuff that's in it doesn't penetrate through all of that. The chances of actually locating, now granted, they helicopters have located victims that have wandered off before, but they're effective about 5% of the time. Okay? 5%. That's it. Yet we still utilize them. But I just want to let you know that. Just like with the dogs. Another case. Listen, we've had dogs. We had dogs in Brian Laundrie's case. That's another one we had dogs in. Did not locate Brian Laundrie, which was deceased. I mean, I walked by his body at least a half a dozen times or more and didn't even know it. 500 feet away from him. Didn't even know it. Right? And I might even have been closer than that and didn't even know it. And didn't even know it. We didn't see any bugs. We didn't see any, vultures. We didn't see anything identifying where he was. We have another one with Colin Knapp and Kathleen Moore case. We knew he dumped her body. We didn't know where, if it was at his work or near his home, but we believed it was at his home. We believed we knew he threw her on the other side of the fence because there was a marsh and a swamp, and there was water moccasins in the swamp. So I couldn't get back there to look, but we pointed back there, and that was after that area was already cleared by law enforcement and dogs. Then you go back to Elijah Vu. Elijah Vu is a 2-year-old boy that disappeared in Two Lakes, Wisconsin. He, the searchers out there searched for him for a really long time. ATVs, dogs went by his poor little deceased body at least 5 separate times and never found him until a bird dog out there with his owner hunting found him. So why am I telling you all of this? Why am I going on this dissertation? Is because a lot of the tools that law enforcement use that we as a general public that don't know about, we think that they're the all in be all type of stuff. What I'm trying to express to you is, yes, we can have dogs out there and there can be a deceased person and those dogs miss it. We can be out there with helicopters and there be a body laying in a field, and because of the foliage and the trees and the forestry, it makes it difficult for the helicopter's cameras to penetrate to see it. So with all these tools out there that are supposed to make it easier to finding people or bodies or missing children or whatever the case may be, sometimes don't work for a variety of reasons. The elements, the environment, training. A lot of these things come down to the training of the animal, and sometimes the animals, just like their trainers, are ill-equipped. They weren't trained properly. There are things like that, or they're cross-trained when they shouldn't be cross-trained. There's a lot of reasons why dogs have a tendency to fail or not find what they're looking for. We've got several cases where I'm pointing out receipts. If you don't believe me, do some fact checking. Elijah Vu, great example. It took a bird dog to find that child. And that child was finally able to be put to rest. And this was months and months and months of searching for that little baby. It was heartbreaking. It was absolutely, utterly heartbreaking. But I'm glad the parents are going to be behind bars, the mom, and of course her boyfriend, because we get a lot of those this day and age. Mom and boyfriend, 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 mom and stepdad, mom and stepdad, mom and stepdad, mom and stepdad. What is wrong with you mamas? Put your babies before your men, okay? Put your babies before your men, unless you're Christian, Unless you're Christian, you put God before your babies. But you never put any other man before your babies. You just don't. You just don't. Anyways, let's get on with this.
Women. Sources tell me investigators found Kada's glasses, her iPad case, and her cell phone case, along with her bank card, in the search of this no longer used Philadelphia public school building yesterday. That's 2.5 miles, mostly down Staten Island.
He may have dumped some stuff there, but that looks like a prime location for her. It really, really does. This is abandoned. Nobody would be there. He would have been able to work. This would be a prime location, folks. I mean, if we could, of all the places that we could say is a prime location for dumping of a body, R-ing somebody, all of those things, this is the location. I think she's somewhere around here. There's a lot of foliage. Look at all this foliage up at the school. I mean, there's going to be places that they're walking over that they don't even realize it could be her. It could be her body. How many manholes are around this place? Nooks and crannies. Is there any way to get, like, this building in and of itself looks huge. If he got into that building, would he be able to store her somewhere in that building? And the answer is yes. Yes, in my opinion, it's a distraction area. It might be. That's another option too, because he could have just, threw her belongings out here. This was a great place just to dump some evidence. Might have been just that. Might not even have been intentionally to throw him off. It just might be he just knew that he could go here and dump some evidence. But I absolutely believe wherever they're going to find her body, her ultimate body, dads and girlfriends too. I don't know. It's been a long time since dads put their children, because even the last few cases we've had, the real Me Too, like the stepmom that was banging the stepson, and dad found out, he threw stepmommy in jail. Another one, the 11-year-old that we just talked about, the mom was the one doing the videotaping and all this stuff. Dad was none the wiser, had no idea that his wife was subjecting his child to all this. The other one where the father was at work and his girlfriend, his underage girlfriend, well, I guess she wasn't underage. She was 19 to his 27 or whatever. And he loses his daughter. He thought it was his girlfriend. So I don't know, maybe like Adam Montgomery, might be a good example of dads and girlfriends. He was the instigator of the violence. So, yeah, I guess so. But for the most part, for me, most of the kids go to the mom, and mom gets with these horrible men because she needs some D, right? That she just picks up any Tom, Dick, and Harry, and brings them around her children. Next thing you know, one child's being R'd or essayed, and mom's none the wiser. Next thing you know, or the boyfriend is manipulating mom to think that the child's doing all these things, so mom starts beating on the child to correct her behavior because the boyfriend's being a jerk, or essaying or R-ing her, and just a horrible situation. And it just really upsets me because in many of these cases that we're seeing here recently, it's not the men and the girlfriends, it's the moms and the boyfriends, or the moms and the stepfathers. It's becoming an issue. Once upon a time, we would be looking at the guys. Well, I don't look at the guys as much anymore. I don't know about you, but it ain't the male teachers banging the students. It's not the male parents that are offing the children. I mean, we do have a few. We do have a few where the guy's involved. We just had that Nikaya. We just had him. His father did him in. We have like Cody Bigsby. Father did him in. So I mean, we do. I guess the point is, yes, there is. It's awful. It's awful. It's a problem we're having. I guess that needs to be said. It's a problem we're having with some parents. Parents need to put their children above anybody else, okay? You take care of your business. And not only that, you would think that people... I agree with that. I agree with that, Seth. It seems to me that people would take pride. Like, I mean, look at Delilah. She's got little blingy stuff on. Like, when we go out of the house, or we're going to an event, or we're doing something, like Delilah is like, she's kicking it. She looks like she's dressed to the nines. I like people seeing my baby, my poopy, dressed to the nines. I like people knowing that she got a great life, right? And so, parents used to take pride in making sure their children had, like, the cool shoes, or the pants, or, stuff like that. They took pride in making their, having, even the bad parents, that were into the substances and partying and stuff like that, they still wanted their kids having, like, the kicks. Like, they didn't want their kid being the nerdy kid in the school. They would throw some Michael Jordans on them and put them up, or when they got their tin can, they would have it lowered. Like, parents did that stuff for their kids. Even the parents that were a little wonky, they did. They always wanted their. But this day and age, it's like, I don't know what's going on with these people. I really don't. Where you think you can just throw your children away like garbage. Like, they're your flesh and blood. They're your flesh and blood. The fuck? Excuse my language.
Avenue from where she worked and was last seen. While King hasn't been as cooperative as detectives would like, sources tell me the young man that she was on a date with the night she was last seen did cooperate. She went on a date here to Topgolf Saturday night, arriving home at 9:45 p.m., just 5 minutes before her mother saw her leave for work.
So now the story is kind of starting. I told you guys, love triangle. Even that first show, what did I say? Matters of the heart. Matters of the heart. What is her history? Now we're finding out. She went on a date with somebody. She went on a date with another man. Sounds like something jealousy I even brought up. Triangle, love triangle, not good. Not good. We did not hear she went on a date before going to work. We're hearing that this guy's a jealous guy. This is what he does to his girlfriends. I told you guys after we learned a little bit back from that press conference, it sounded like Keon and Kada might have had a fling or a relationship of some sort. Now we're hearing that she went on a date before she went to work. She went on a date before she went to work.
with the night she was last seen, did work and was last seen. While King hasn't been as cooperative as detectives would like, sources tell me the young man that she was on a date with the night she was last seen did cooperate. She went on a date here to Topgolf Saturday night, arriving home at 9:45 p.m., just 5 minutes before her mother saw her leave for work. That young man told police how easily approachable Kada is, based on how he met her by just rolling down his car window and was able to easily strike up a conversation with her.
This is day 12 of Kada not being with us, and
we'll get back to that. What does it say? I don't think he was jealous boyfriend. Seems like he was just a stalker, one of those, if you can't have you, no one can, those dangerous men. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, but usually, yeah, I don't think he's a jealous boyfriend. But see, usually those stalkers, if they can't have you, no one can, but see, the problem is that they acknowledge that they were communicating at yesterday's press conference, the press conference before that, I believe, MSM. I believe that they did state that Keon and Kada were communicating by phone. So I don't think he was just stalking her. I think she might have had a fling with him. It sounds like this guy was able, the one that she just went on a date with, was easily able to get her attention and, roll down his car window, and they kind of kicked it,
With her.
This is day 12 of Kada not being with us. And as you know, each day the desperation grows.
Kada's father on Good Day Philadelphia for the second straight morning, hoping to keep the public on alert for her, brought his two brothers with him, hoping to reach the person who may know King and may know what happened after police say she got into King's car.
All I gotta say is, after looking at those uncles, I'm glad law enforcement got this man, because I don't think there would have been much left of this man had her family members gotten a hold of him first. I'm just saying. They don't look like they're ones to. They seem like an FO type people. I'm just saying. Bless them. But I'm glad law enforcement got a hold of this knucklehead, because I think if those uncles would have, there wouldn't have been a whole lot left.
There's one person out there that is a good friend of his that, has a heart. And understands the severity of this and speaks up.
Dad Kevin Scott wearing his daughter's name on his.
Oh, so it sounds like one of Keon's friends is the one that, kind of snitched. That sounds like had a heart, as they're saying, and said something.
His hooded sweatshirt over his heart, hoping someone watching with a good heart will hear him.
Let my daughter go. Bring my daughter back home. She has loved ones, family, friends that all care about her. She has a bright head on her shoulders, a great future. People make mistakes. If she's alive and breathing, just get her back home,
We want her home.
At the Criminal Justice Center, Steve Keeley, Fox 29 News.
This is so sad, because this guy right here, he was spinning out of control. It was only a matter of time before he took somebody out, and that, I truly believe that. To come to find out that there's 3 incidences, this is the third in less than a year. This guy was spinning out of control. If they didn't catch him, there were going to be more. I believe this guy's serial. Even if it's just with his own significant people, he may have tried to speak to her. She might have showed him some attention, exchanged phone numbers. Maybe she didn't want to date him. Maybe you're kind of right, MSM. Maybe she didn't really want to date him. Maybe she did, just exchange numbers and decided she liked this other guy better and was kind of ghosting him. And maybe he was just stalking her. Who knows? Who knows? Law enforcement is keeping a lot of this stuff tight-lipped. But there was definitely some type of communication going on between these two people. And it's funny that this happens right after she comes back from a date with another man. I don't know. I feel like this was some jealousy. I feel like she must have, either she had a relationship with him, had a fling with him. They were communicating. As we learned in the article, he has a $2.5 million bail, so we're not really concerned about him getting out at this point. So I think that's kind of where we're at with the Kada Scott. Wow, nice. Jealous. Yeah, I think, I definitely got the serial vibe. But it seems like he's serial, just like in a normal abuser. An abuser's an abuser. Doesn't matter which woman he's with. He's an abuser. He's a serial abuser. So no matter what relationship he's going to get into, he's going to be narcissistic, manipulative, verbally abusive, physically abusive type of thing. Hey, Pale Writer. Maybe she rejected him for the other guy. That's what I'm kind of thinking. And he found out about it. And he was probably cussing her out or making her feel bad. And she wanted to, maybe he was blowing up her phone. And he said, I'm going to keep blowing up your phone until you come out here and talk to me. Maybe that's why she left her work. I don't know. I'd like to know how she left her work. Was she forced out of work? Because I fear, after seeing that video of him going into, do I still have that up? Hold on, let's see if we can find that again. Here. After seeing him do this, let's play this again. Let's play this again for you guys. After seeing him do this and try to get into somebody else's house, let me get this down a little bit more. After seeing him do this to somebody else and try to get into their house.
He coming around the window. Go that way, Cameron. Yeah, bitch, go away, bye. Go away, bye. Yep, bye. Bye.
What am I doing? What am I doing? And then watch this right there.
Go away, bitch. Don't come over here. Karen, call the cops.
And he's walking up, and he's like, he's ready to get into that house.
Call the... It's all these kids in here. Call the cops, you dumb bitch.
So after seeing that, that makes me question, how did she leave work, right? I want to know, did she willingly leave work, or did he come into her job and take her? Because I feel like he came into her job and took her. She was clocked in for all of 20 minutes, so I really would like to know, did he coax her out, or did he, go in there and grab her and nobody see her? Because she was working in the middle of the night. How many people truly work at her job in the middle of the night? We don't know. Nobody's telling us this information. So, like I said, I'm a little iffy on a lot of this stuff that's going on with her, with this whole story, and it's still not clear, but I am absolutely confident in this. You see the uncles, you see the father, you see that they're keeping hope alive right now, and I wish them the best with that hope, but I'm more of a realist. I don't, as hard as it is for me, I care for the families. We pray over the families. We don't want the families struggling through this, but I'm more of a realist, and I'm not looking for an alive person. If I were out there, I'm going to be looking for a deceased person, so I'm going to be doing ground searches, right? I'm going to be doing ground searches for a body. I'm not going to be doing door knocking and canvassing to find out if she's in a house somewhere tied up, because I don't believe that's the case. Just on his history, just seeing what I've seen, just seeing who he is as a person, it's telling me she's not with us, and it's hard. It hurts, even for me to say that, but at the end of the day, I'm a realist, and we need to find her. And the more we're looking for an alive person, the less we're looking for a deceased person. And if we're not looking for a deceased person, then we're not looking in the places where a deceased person would be. And if we're not looking in the places where a deceased person be, then the chances of us finding a deceased person are slim and none. Okay? So this is one where I think they need to be looking for a deceased person, not one that's going to be tied up or going to be coming home safely, because it's just going to, if they keep looking for an alive person, it's going to drag out looking for her body. And they need to start looking for her body. That's just my opinion. right? And my opinion doesn't mean anything. It certainly doesn't mean that I'm right or wrong. It's just my opinion, very simply, my opinion. So now we are going to be getting kind of on a more of a political realm. This is for our update on what's going on with the crime out there in Portland and the crime in Chicago that has been going on. Plus, we have new indictment. John Bolton was officially indicted, so that makes James Comey, Letitia James, and John Bolton indicted. So the Democrats are basically saying this is a revenge tactic and all this other stuff. It is not. We're going to go through it so you guys have a good understanding of what's true and what is not true, what is propaganda and what is not. I think that people need to be educated, so I think education is the best way. Once you guys have the information, you make the decisions for yourself, okay? I'm not here to make your decisions for you. I'm here to give you the information. My mind's made up. In the way I talk, some of the things I say, my mind's made up. I know where I stand in all of these issues, but I'm also highly educated in all of these issues. Many people that come here are not. So let's just go through this. So this is related to the riots that are happening with ICE. So if you don't know what's going on around the country, I'm sure everybody does. ICE has been tasked with enforcing our laws, our federal laws. And so what had happened is the Biden administration allowed 25 million immigrants, illegal immigrants, to rush our borders and come into our country. If you guys want to know why it was so hard to find rentals, why it was so hard to find housing, why our housing costs were going through the roof, it's because we, the public, the taxpayers, were paying 25 million people's rent, okay? And so these rental agents like BlackRock were increasing the rents because supply and demand were so high to house these 25 million illegal immigrants that they paid all of these things. They were housing them at luxury hotels, everything on our dime, okay? The bottom line is we can't afford it. We can't afford these people. These people are taking American jobs, and they're not supposed to be here. They broke here illegally. They're here illegally. Now, people are going to say, well, what about the ones that have been here 20 and 30 years? Well, they've had 20 and 30 years to become legal in this country. Let's stop the nonsense. Let's stop the madness, okay? People have had every right while they have been here to get their stuff in order, so they weren't put here. It's not like all of a sudden in 2025 did you realize we, the American people, want the illegals out of this country. Okay? Everybody knows that this was what was on the ballot box. Right? This was the ballot initiative. All of these 25 million people that were causing us great harm, American peoples, we've been having to pay so much more money for our fruits, our vegetables, our gas, our housing, everything. Because we were buying it for all of these people to come over here free of charge, while we had to pay for us and them. We're done. We want them out. If you are married, or you have children, and you're with that significant other, then you should be doing what you can to be part of this country. Waiting until you're deported and then complaining about you being deported, I'm done hearing it. I think a lot of Americans are done hearing it, especially the ones that have been here 20, 30, and 40 years and have not done a damn thing to keep themselves in this country. They chose to stay here illegally. They chose that. They've been here 20 and 30 years and could have done something to change their future, and they chose not to. Okay? Don't come to me with a bleeding heart. These people chose not to do this stuff, but a lot of criminals came over in this 25 million, line from all over the world into our country. And so we're saying we want them out. They're required to enforce federal law. This is federal law, okay? I don't care what anybody tells you. Our immigration laws are federal law. They're not local laws. They're not state laws. They're federal laws. Our federal bodies are the ones that deal with it. Typically, how we have it is these states work with our federal partners to get these people off the road. But the problem is that the Democrats are failing. They need these people voting for them. And the only way that they can get these people to vote for them is to give them driver's licenses, give them social security cards, which we've been hearing about that, right? So it looks like they're American and that they're able. They even give them the ones with the gold star. They have no names on their driver's license, and they give them one with a gold star. I don't know if you guys remember how much you had to jump through hoops to get that gold star on your driver's license. But I had to go back 5 different times to the DMV to get my gold star on my driver's license. And they just hand these to illegals without showing any documentation because they want the votes. They want the votes. We're tired of it. We're tired of them stealing elections. We're finding out how they stole the elections. We're fixing it. We're making sure it doesn't happen again. And unfortunately, these people got to go home. That's the way it is. So what's happening out there in these facilities are improper. You know, we have a right to enforce our federal laws, except in Portland is not working with our federal partners, creating this chaos. It doesn't have to be like this. It doesn't have to be like this at all. Because prior to this, the states just worked with the ICE agents and made sure everybody was safe. Now, they don't want to make sure anybody's safe. They want the narrative. They want to show this because they know their asses are cooked because there's a lot of legal stuff that's about to happen, and they need us to look like the authoritarians, right? Because they have to invoke their base. They have to incite their base to attack. And the only way they're going to do it is by saying that we're authoritarian people when we're not. We're enforcing federal law. Now, I would like to remind everybody here, they were in charge for 4 years. They could have changed all of these federal laws so Trump didn't have this opportunity to do this, right? Even in Obama, he had an opportunity to change these immigration laws. They chose not to do it. So if the Democrats chose not to change immigration laws when they were in office, but refused to enforce them when somebody else is in office, that's bullshit. And it's creating crime. It's creating this war-like effect so they can now say that we're authoritarian. A radical judge, has now said that they can't use these gas, whatever, the pepper balls or whatever it is, the canisters, whatever. They said they can't use them. Well, ICE agents got into a car wreck. They were rammed by, these people are actually following them around and taking vehicles and ramming into our ICE agents. These people should be in prison, and they should be in prison for attempted murder of federal agents. And I hope that that's what's going on. And if it's not, then shame on the our federal government. You should be arresting these people and making sure that they are charged with attempted murder, because that's what it is. They're using 1,000-pound machines to injure federal workers. So anyways, there was this car wreck. They weren't intending to use pepper gas or anything else or any type of stuff, but their cars were surrounded. And they had to fight for their life against an angry mob that these communities have incited against them for enforcing federal law, which they are required to enforce. You understand that these are laws that these agents are enforcing. These aren't made up. This is not something that Trump said, oh, let's get all the illegals out. We don't have the rules, so just go in there with the tanks and guns and rip them out of their homes. No. What could happen is these areas just work with ICE and say, we've got 15 people in our courts today, come pick them up, right? But they don't want to. They want to let them run around the streets and have ICE agents chasing them down, injuring ICE agents, injuring the people that they need to round up and to get out of here that have orders to be removed. Let's not forget that. That whole thing of there's no due process. 90% of these people that they're picking up have had orders for removal for years. They've already went through their due process. How much more due process do you need? They have orders for removal. And these states still won't hand them over. Well, we're going in there to get them. We're going in there to get them. And if you have a problem with it, then have a problem with it. You think I'm racist because I want laws being enforced, then you think I'm racist because I want laws enforced. So what? I don't care. This right here that I'm seeing should not be happening. These governors and mayors of these communities are doing this. They're injuring their people for political reasons. And there's no respect in that. There's no dignity in that. These people are nothing but thugs running these communities. Look at this. You think J.B. Pritzker gives a damn about this? You think he cares if that guy got right there just gets shot? No! He doesn't care! Because this is a political game for him. A political game where they're putting the citizens of their community as pawns to be hurt and shot and killed. That's what those governors and mayors are doing. They don't care about life. We care about life. Why? Because we want the crime over. We're sending in the troops to end the crime because we have a right to live free. And we have never lived free in this country, even though we're the freest country in the world. How can South Korea have less crime than America? The day that I say that our crime needs to be like South Korea, I never thought I'd say that, but we do. South Korea doesn't have the type of crime we have here in the United States. We can all be crime-free, very low crime. I don't know if you guys remember, back in the 70s, there was drug crimes. There wasn't real major crimes. This major crime stuff happened after, the 90s. The 90s when Bill Clinton was involved, and then, of course, Obama. Democrat ran country is when we started seeing the uprising and all this. We're going to take the first few minutes of this. I think everybody needs to hear this. This is from yesterday. Obviously, there's an update today, I'm pretty sure, coming out, but this is from yesterday.
It's doing for the security of our country. If you're keeping count, 9 times the Senate Democrats have voted to keep the government closed. All the House Democrats except one voted September 19th to shut it down. So this is 10 total times now that Democrats in Congress have voted to close the government. And we know what that means for real people. We know what it means for our troops and our Border Patrol agents and TSA agents and air traffic controllers and everybody who relies upon services around the country. It's very real. And so today marks yet another day of American families feeling the very real personal and economic strain of this reckless decision that our Democrat colleagues keep making. They want the United States government to remain closed, and they seem not to care about the pain that it's causing. They have offered no plan. They have offered no strategy. They have offered no common sense path forward for ending this situation. And so many of you have asked all of us, how will it end? We have no idea. It's up to the Democrats, and they have to decide it. And judging by their outrageous behavior.
So just for you guys to know what happens. Okay, so how is it possible that the Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and our government shut down? So this is the ploy. This is the manipulation that the Democrats are trying to say. They're trying to come out and say this is a Republican shutdown because you control the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, and because of that, you guys are choosing to shut this down. No, that's not, because we have 55 people. 55. Now, mind you, Tom Massey, Rand Paul, they're obstructionists in our Congress, okay? So if you're from Kentucky, you need to vote against Tom Massey, and you need to vote against Rand Paul. I don't care about anybody else. Get them the hell out. They're obstructionists. They're horrible. I don't like them. They have done nothing but cause more problems. They're freaking Democrats, okay? They're not Republicans. I'd rather trade both of them for Fetterman. You know, Fetterman's a Democrat, but he's the only sane Democrat left on their side. I'd rather get rid of Massey and Paul and take Fetterman. Why can't we trade them like we do for the NFL? Because I'd trade them in a heartbeat. I really would. Long story short is we need 60 votes because it's a super majority, not just a majority. So we don't need 51 votes. We need 60 votes. The problem is is because we only have 55, we have the majority in the Senate, but we don't have a super majority in the Senate. So that means 5 Democrats have to cross, and that's if we didn't have our obstructionists like Murkowski and Paul, right? And Massey. We have problems in our own party. Those 3 people need to go, okay? But we lost them, and we need to get more Democrats to vote, a supermajority, 60 of them. 60 of them. We need 60 votes. Do you understand that? 60 votes. We have 55, okay? So what they did is they created this situation where they were going to hold our country hostage. If we did not bow down to them and hand them over $1.5 trillion, then those 5 Democrats refused to come and just allow us to pay our bills, or just our normal, clean, CR, continuing resolution, pay people at the same rate of pay prior to this, while they can sit there and talk about health care and all these other things. But what they tried to do is they tried to extort the American people once again, and we said no. And we told our politicians, you frickin' breathe anything, we're done. We're going to start firing our own people. So we are making our party toe the line. We're no longer going to be extorted in these stupid things. We'll rather shut our country down for 7 weeks than be extorted out of $1.5 trillion. And if these SOBs don't want to support the American people, we'll start removing them from office. They chose to support the initiative. This is not from Trump. This is from the MAGA movement. This is from we the people. We are demanding this. Okay? We are demanding this. So at this point, they can choose to pay at the same rate that they were, or shut the country down, because we will not give in to the extortion of $1.5 trillion. We're not doing it. So they've chosen to shut the country down, and now we're begging for them to come to their senses and open it up at the regular pay, so we can pay our military, we can pay everybody that needs to be paid. Right now, we have people working at the Capitol that aren't being paid, our military, with the exception, there's some military that are being paid, and the military bases in the Democrat-ran areas, they're not getting paid. Because the Democrats in those areas, in those states, chose not to open this country up. So we're saying, since your politicians wanted to punish you, we're happy to oblige. So everybody that wants to vote to keep the country open, we're taking care of them. Everybody else will have to suffer. It is what it is. If you don't want stupid prizes, quit playing stupid games. The Democrats have played stupid games, and the American people are not buying it. At the end of the day, the Democrats do not have the majority of America. As a matter of fact, they've lost it. They've lost their ever-loving mind. They have lost their ever-loving mind. And you know who's going to have to pay for it? Us.
The Democrats appear perfectly happy to keep the political theater going while real people suffer.
Yep.
And that's why House Republicans made the responsible decision for our members to spend this week in their districts working for the people. They're helping their constituents. They're helping the American people navigate the mess that the Democrats have created.
So while the Democrats are, basically what he's saying is, while the Democrats are playing games on TikTok and YouTube and think it's funny and, dancing and all this other stuff around the House, our people are actually out in their states helping people get through these troubled times, helping them with resources for free food, money, and keeping them bills paid. We put our people back in their states to help their constituents overcome this shutdown while they're still at the Senate dancing around and playing games. Funny how that happens.
Staying back to work with our constituents was a decision that we made very thoughtfully, and we made collectively as a group, House Republicans. We have so much of that work to do. That's not some talking point. It's not some strategic tactic. We made that decision out of urgent necessity. So I want to highlight here just this morning, just very briefly, just a couple of examples, a small sample of some of the very important work that House Republicans are doing on the ground right now to help Americans through this difficult time. In the state of Michigan, for example, our members are sitting down with veterans, men and women who risked their lives for our country, and they're struggling now because the services they depend on, health services, for example, have come to a halt thanks to the Schumer shutdown. So
now our I did not realize our VA benefits are coming to a halt. People can't get paid. People can't get paid. I'm sure they have to have things open for emergency purposes, but we need to be thinking about that. You guys need to be on the phone with all your Democrat partners, telling them to open up the country. I'm sorry, it's them. Why can't we just go ahead and pay people like we were paying them before the shutdown? Doesn't make any sense. They would have expected, if they were in charge, they would have expected the same from us. This is disgusting, what they're doing to this country.
In Michigan, our Republicans from the House are there working through those situations. In Texas, many of our Republican colleagues have met with some of our brave Border Patrol agents down on that southern border who are still reporting for duty without a paycheck. In Montana, Congressman Ryan Zinke helped park rangers who are keeping the parks open as best they can for families and travelers, even as they themselves go without a paycheck. Across the Midwest, we have members who are meeting with local and regional airports to hear firsthand how furloughs and blocked paychecks there are hurting the people who keep our skies safe. Really important stuff. In rural communities around the country, Republicans are working hand in hand with their local hospitals to make sure that the $50 billion rural hospital fund that Republicans got signed into law in July 4th is accessed. It reaches the people.
So, and that's another thing. They were going to claw back. Do you know that the Democrats, that $50 billion going to rural hospitals, the Democrats wanted to claw that back so they can give illegal immigrants health care? Those are things that help our people out in rural areas. They didn't care about the Americans in the rural areas. They wanted to take that and give it to the illegals. Are you okay with that? I mean, I know I've got some Democrat friends that watch me daily. Is that cool with you? Because it's not cool with me. I mean, we're reasonable people here. But this is not cool.
People who need it. And they're doing that work while the Democrats are demanding to kill that essential fund that is in their counterproposal for the CR, one of the many outrageous things they've claimed they want to do. And everywhere across America right now, we're helping small business owners and farmers and ranchers and service coordinators.
Why can't they do that? Why does everything on the Democrat have to be foreign agents, foreign nationals, foreign this, foreign that, illegal this, illegal that, migrant this, migrant that? Why is everything from the Democrat side never America? Why does every initiative that comes from their side is about everybody but us, we the people? Or it has to be colored, right? It has to be something to do with the color of somebody's skin. Why? Nothing American-based is ever coming out of the Democrat side. Yet we are all here and we all love America.
Navigate frozen loans and delayed emergency funds and growing uncertainty about how to keep serving their communities. So all across the country, Republicans are dealing with the very real and painful consequences facing real Americans. Now, that's happening on the Republican side. And what's happening on the Democrat side? You can see it for yourself.
I gotta tell you, you know what? There's nothing more upsetting to me because, I mean, my family is mostly Democrats. My family didn't write me off, and I was, traveling literally the country, following Donald J. Trump around for frickin' a decade. So, you know, my family never disowned me. I've had some, heated debates between the family, but if we got to the point where, we were reasonable enough to say, this really does make us not like each other. Let's not talk about this, right? You do you, I do me, and let's leave it be. Like even with my, like on Facebook, I have Democrat friends that I've had to work with for years for political activism, like Rodney Jones. He used to be the double A NCP. Is Is that right? Is that right? I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Anyways, he was the president here in Manatee County, and we've worked together and we're friends on Facebook. And one of the rules that we made for each other is, he's going to have things that's going to come up in my chat that I'm going to disagree with, and I'm going to have things that come up in his chat that he's going to disagree with. We know where we both stand on this. Let's not involve our peeps in it, so we just don't comment. If something bothers us, that we just don't comment back and forth to each other. So if he has his statement, he just has a statement. If I have my statement, I just have my statement, and we just work like that. And that's worked for us for a really long time. Is just we just don't comment when things affect us like that. We work on the stuff that we can work on together, and the stuff that we can't, we don't. And it's just like that. We work against each other, but we do it lovingly, right? So hopefully more people get back to that old way of doing things, where we love each other, just for the human, just for being human, but work with each other on the things we can work with each other on, and pass on the things that we can't.
Compare what I just told you with what they're doing. Look at their own behavior. Look at their actions. Don't listen to the words that people are saying. Look at what they're doing. Chuck Schumer and Democrats over the last 10 days, here's a small sample of their activity, okay? We've seen performative stunts and TikToks and photo shoots across every inch of this Capitol. We've seen Democrats actually toast themselves on the balcony of the DCCC last night, while their colleagues voted in the Senate to keep the government closed for the 10th time. We've seen not one but two failed publicity stunts right outside my own office, the latest of which ended in a congresswoman storming the entrance and berating a Capitol police officer who, by the way, is protecting her without pay. And last night, we even saw, I didn't see it, many of you saw it, CNN host the first socialist town hall, where Bernie Sanders and AOC said the quiet parts out loud. They don't know what they want to end the shutdown.
They don't know what they want. They want more. They just want our money. They don't really care how they get it. At the end of the day, they just want the money. Because while they're doing all these initiatives, they send this stuff overseas just for it to come back to them. It's a big laundering scheme. If you don't believe me, look at these people. These people make $100,000 a year, okay? And many of the people I know make $100,000 a year, and they have a nice house, right? They may have a rental or two. They definitely aren't living and having multi-million-dollar homes throughout the United States. I can tell you that. And so, obviously, there's something going on. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene, look at her. She came in with a little bit of money, but now she's worth $23 million. Now, she's somebody on our side that's been corrupted, okay? She's been corrupted by money. And that's what happens when people go in here. The people dangle the carrots. You either have to be strong and have great integrity, or you're going to be sucked into the swamp, because the swamp is profitable. They will dangle all that money in front of you like what to get you to bite, and once you do, you're theirs. They own you. They own you. She's been bitten. Don't know what else to say. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who would have known?
They couldn't provide a single viable solution for the mess that they themselves have gleefully created. And by the way, those are the real leaders of the Democrat Party. We all know it. AOC and Bernie. Good luck with that. And amid all that, Chuck Schumer is actually bragging that every day gets better for his party. As you know, that is his words, not ours. All this would be laughable if it didn't come at the cost of American families, and it really is deadly serious. If it were up to Republicans alone, we would not be in this mess. We'd be up here negotiating and debating openly and transparently on the issues impacting Americans' lives. But as I've said repeatedly, Democrats slammed the brakes on legislative business when they decided to shut down the government for their partisan political purposes.
And I will tell you that we do have some decent news, depending on how you would like to look at it. I don't know how you'd like to look at it, but at the end of the day, we've made strides. I believe that we're going to be able to sustain 7 weeks, but I don't think we're going to have to. Because from everybody, all the people that have been getting sources in Washington are saying that Chuck Schumer is worried. He's worried for his political career. So he's about to be primaried, and they think AOC is going to primary him. And based upon what we just saw from Bernie Sanders and AOC when asked that, and how they lost their shit over it, I do believe she's trying to primary primary Chuck Schumer. So I do anticipate AOC running for Senate. I think you guys are terrible if she gets elected. I think whoever is electing her, you guys need to stop with all this communism, socialism. You guys are going to get us into a civil war, because I'm telling you, there's only one way out of that crap right there. And a real America, we're not dealing with it. I'm going to tell you that right now. Real America is not dealing with communists. Okay? We're not doing it. So you guys got to figure it out. But real America, we're not dealing with communism in this country. We're just not. New York is about to sell their soul out. You know, there's nothing. I'm ready to frickin'. I hope to God we can kick New York and California. If we could kick New York and California and quit sending them federal funds, quit taking their taxes, let them live all on their own, let them remove themselves from the United States, be their own countries, give everybody 90 days to either become Americans or stay in those countries. I think that needs to be what happens. I'm tired of New York. I'm tired of California. They are our problems in this country. And they're sucking the life out of this country. So as you guys know, John Bolton, James Comey, and Letitia, John Bolton being the latest casualty, being indicted for crimes related to the coup. Okay, you know, when they were trying to tell everybody that Donald J. Trump was insurrecting the country, it really wasn't him, it was them. Just like with all the hate channels here, when I kept telling you for years, they're always, look over there, so you're not looking over there, and they were doing all kinds of dirty. Everything that they were saying everybody else was doing dirty on this platform, they were doing it. Nobody else was doing it but them. This is the same that is being applied to this cabal of people that tried to destroy a sitting president and tried to create a coup during his presidency, which included a prior president, Barack Obama. And he had people, including Mike Pence, the traitor Mike Pence, involved too. Trump couldn't trust anybody during his first presidency. And that's why we worked very, very hard to make sure he got who he needed this time around. And we came with the heat. We came with the FAFO. We're ready. We are absolutely ready to take this country back and to get it back on track. And this country has changed a lot over the 20 years. And I think the problem is so many people have just been made to deal for so long. You guys don't even remember what our country used to be like before all this nonsense. Because we don't remember what happened 20 years ago, because we don't remember what happened 2 weeks ago. But I am promising you, once we get this place back, once we get crime back down, we will remember why we loved America so much. We want to know why so many people hate America? Look at the state of America right now. This is what our young people see as America. This is not the America. This is the delusion that the Democrats painted and the left with all their immoral crap. We don't even know what morality is in America anymore because of the crap that they've done. So, yeah, people are getting indicted. Why? Because look at the state of our freaking country. They took a man and tried to destroy him because the American people wanted him to be the president. Somebody's got to pay for that. Somebody certainly has to pay for that. So he's indicted. Now they're going to be screaming that, oh, this is a hit list. We're going after him. No, this is not a hit list. This is people finally having their just desserts for doing the crimes that they committed. You cannot break the law. People, we know for a long time, people in office historically go without checks and balances, even when we know they do wrong. What they end up doing is coming out here, telling the public, oh my gosh, they did X, Y, and Z, so the public opinion is enough punishment for them. That's what they try to convince us. That these people, because they lost their job, they got their justice, right? We got our justice. They're out of office. They're never coming back in office, but they were never charged with the crimes that they committed. We've seen this over and over again. I know I'm 46, and I know that for the last 30 years, I have watched politician after politician break the law, break laws, felonies, commit felonies, commit capital crimes, and never held accountable. They come here, they think that public jury and execution is good enough for them, that they don't really need to be held accountable. Well, this time it's like you lied, you took our law enforcement, you turned them into political pawns, you wielded them at the American people. You threw our president in jail? And then we find out it's a lie? Yeah, boo-boo. There's going to be a lot more coming than Comey, James, and Bolton. I can tell you that. And I am all for it. This is what I voted for. You bet your ass this is what I voted for. This is not authoritarianism. This is accountability. This is what we expect. We want these people held accountable. There is no more is there of haves and have-nots. No more is there everybody's above the law except we the people. We're ready to take our country back, and we're ready to hold those accountable that tried to destroy it. And let me tell you, I am one of these people that support everything that's going on right now. 100%. Like, I'm all in. I'm all in. This is the last, I think this is the last I'm going to show you guys, and I think we're moving on. Yep. All right.
Going to see coming. These indictments that you've seen and the ones that you're going to see coming up here in this near future are just the beginning.
If he's right, this could finally be that moment of accountability that so many of us have been calling for a very long time now. I mean, you can even look at that within this government shutdown right now. The entire Democrat caucus in both the House and in the Senate, derelict in their duty. Yeah. They have decided that they want to hold the government hostage because of their political agenda. Yeah. I think that is part of what you're seeing within the government now. From Kash Patel, from many of those that are looking at where we go from here, is getting people back to basics, getting people back to the Constitution.
These indictments that you've seen and the ones that you're going to see coming up here in this.
That's it. You know, I think that we need to remove this illusion that our federal government doesn't have the rights to enforce federal law. That couldn't be further from the truth. They have a right to be there. They have a right to be doing these activities. They have a right to be taking illegal immigrants off of our streets, and they have a right to be deporting them back. The difference is mostly the governments of these states willingly work with law enforcement. But the problem is they've lost their entire voting base, and now we're deporting their newly hired voting base. They have been utilizing these illegal immigrants to steal elections, to stay elected, and to keep their party in office. That's it. The elections are for American people. And the reason why we're seeing all of the Democrats look at foreign immigration and foreign interest only and cutting America out, because that's where they're getting their electorate body at. They're bringing them in. They're giving them driver's license, social security cards, even CDLs, where they don't even have their names on these CDLs. People are dying all over the country because these people don't know how to read our road signs. We have removed them from being able to renew their driver's license, and we got people like Minnesota that's handing them out like candy because they don't care about human life. They want Americans dead. Okay? I truly believe that. I truly believe the Democrat Party wants the Americans dead. They don't want us here. We're just in their way. And it shows every single day because they keep putting the criminals back on the streets with us. They want to keep taking our money away from us and making us pay. They want us to go without so they can have the lap of luxury. Look at all these people that are making decisions for us. They can't even lower our costs on eggs, yet they're able to take our money, use it to fill up their own refrigerators with $12 a pint ice cream, like Nancy Pelosi did. That was our money. That refrigerator, that $100,000 refrigerator she had, that's our money. Do you guys understand that? Her whole house that she lives in was our money. That was your child's education. That was your child's education. I hope you guys are getting pissed because we need you guys to start changing your votes. It's time to start voting law and order and get these people out. We need to be demanding limits. I don't even know, my brain's running blank, but we need limits. We need congressional limits. You can be in office 8 years tops. You're done, right? You're done. With these people like Mitch McConnell, these people, Nancy Pelosi, all they're doing is staying in power to hold on to power. That's it. They're not even thinking normally anymore. They're both falling down like crazy. They can't formulate sentences. They're old as shit. We need new blood in this country to really take this country forward. We can't have all these old people that were born when there wasn't even a TV in the house. Come on. Do you think these people that were born with no TVs know what it's like for our lives today? Of course not. Thank you, term limits. I don't know why I was having a problem with that today. But anyways. All right, guys, that's my spiel on the state of affairs in our Congress. And now we're going to get on to the last portion of our show. Is this the last portion of our show, or do we have another thing after this? I think this is the last portion of our show. Yeah, this is the last portion of our show. But before we work into the last portion of the show, because I'm already pretty sure I'm over my 2 hours. I think we're already going into our third hour. I need to take a break. I'm sure all of you guys need to freshen up your coffee. So go freshen up your coffee. I'm going to turn my mic off. I've got to use the little girl's room, and then we'll go and start having the last segment of our show rolled out here. Please don't forget, we do have a goal for this show. If you guys would like to participate in the goal, I think it might be over. Is it over already? I think I've already... Oh, yeah, it is, because I only set it for 2 hours. But we just want to show some love, and let's share some positive vibes. So if you guys can, please don't forget to go out there and hit the like button for me. Forward this to your Facebook or your X account so other people can pick up on this live and watch it and get educated. But for a few moments, we're going to take a little break, and we will be back in about 2 minutes. So guys, go get your drinks, go freshen up your beverages, and be back here in about 120 seconds. Talk to you soon. All right, folks, we are back. We are officially back. If you guys are just coming in, I'm Bullhorn Betty. We are about to cover the case of Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers, he was 15 years old when he disappeared on February 22nd, February 26, 2024, and has not been seen or heard from since. His mom and stepdad are very suspicious. They've acted unnaturally since the beginning. They've been caught in many, many lies throughout this case. Many lies. This child, according to law enforcement, went into the house. Law enforcement tells us that they have dash cam footage and audio that shows that Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers went into that home that night and never walked out. Yet the next morning, his mother reported him missing. Now, there are some nuances with this case that law enforcement wants us to forget about and continuously lies to us about related to this particular matter. The night that Sebastian disappeared, around 3 o'clock in the morning, there were suspicious lights on the side of Sebastian's home. Two specific lights that appeared to travel from the side of Sebastian Rogers' home to an unknown parked car that was parked near the intersection of Stafford Court and Kellen Lane. Kellen Lane is the main road that you take in off of Long Hollow Pike. You turn off Long Hollow Pike onto Kellen Lane and drive up to Stafford Court, where you turn, you make a left. It's a one way in and one way out from their road. It's a cul-de-sac road. And so right there on the corner of Kellen and Stafford, there was a vehicle there. We don't know what type of vehicle it was. Mob crew believes it's a sedan. I believe it's an SUV. Law enforcement has acknowledged that there was a pickup truck in the area on another road not associated with that, which I find pretty interesting that they made that statement. Chris has also stated that his truck was picked up on the cart download. And he tried to say that it was from him coming to the area, because remember, he had not been in the area for an entire month, that it was from him coming to the area at 1 o'clock that afternoon after his stepson was missing. Many people, like me, don't believe law enforcement would be so irresponsible to pull reports after the child had went missing. But there is possibility that there is, but I don't believe it. I think Chris Proudfoot was in and around that area at that time of night. When you look at the timeline, it shows he had plenty of time to go from Memphis or Horn Lake, Mississippi to his home. He had time to stay at his home for 10 to 15 minutes and get back in his car and go back to Memphis or Horn Lake. It also left him about 15 to 20 additional minutes from the time he would have arrived at his job, which just so happens to coincide with the time of morning that he called law enforcement. Okay? So it is my belief he waited until he was back on his job site before he made that 911 call, or that call to the dispatch line, the non-emergency dispatch line of Sumner County. I've done the timeline. I've actually physically drove this trip. I drove this trip there. I drove this trip back. I drove this trip there. I drove this trip back. Okay? And it is without a doubt, he had plenty of time to hang up the phone with Katie. Because remember, they were on the phone. Immediately after he hung up the phone with Katie, if he got into a vehicle and started proceeding to that house, he had plenty of time from that point to head to the house, stay at the house 5-10 minutes, get back in his vehicle, and leave and head back. He would have been ultra tired. He would have had no sleep. He would have probably been, say, cranky at work, unfocused at work, all of the things that he was described as being by other coworkers. So anyways, we were going through this stuff yesterday, and he made some statements to Heather Cohen, which was a past private investigator that Seth hired that was pro bono to him that ended up monkey effing his case up and causing a lot more problems than it was worth. You get what you pay for. No pun intended. I do not like her. I think she was unprofessional. I think Chloe's unprofessional. And I think they have no business doing what they're doing. They cause more problems than they actually help. They've never done anything remotely exciting or above board. Okay? So anyways, they were trying to act like private investigators when they're not. And there were some things that slipped with Chris Proudfoot. You know, he started saying, he started focusing on why they're here, you know, and that's very important to me. And I think, you know, it wasn't focused on Sebastian leaving. It was never focused on Sebastian running away from home. Chris's primary focus in this conversation was for Heather to understand why they were in this position to begin with. That doesn't sound good to me. That doesn't sound good to me at all. That's very concerning. When you start hearing somebody trying to justify something, we don't know what he's trying to justify, but he's trying to justify something because he wants Heather to understand why they're here, right? And that's a problem. But we ended this a little prematurely, or maybe it's because the mob crew did additional. I don't know. This looks like the same one we were on yesterday. But apparently I didn't get all the way to the end because I didn't hear this last little bit. And so it came across to me today, and I thought, didn't I just play this yesterday? So I went ahead and listened to it again just to make sure that this was the one I played yesterday. It is. It is. And I noticed that there's some right down here at the back end of this that I missed. And so I'm back here, and we're going to play this. 19 months, where's Sebastian? Exactly, Pebbles. Thank you. Absolutely. What's the deal with the crane and construction toys being in the interview? That was, I know for a fact that would have been Olivia. That was Olivia's interview. I've worked with Olivia many times. And I know her MO. I know how she likes to set things up. She went into this house thinking these parents were missing a child, that their child ran away. So she's going to set it up to present a missing child, segment. And that's what she did. And so when she does that, she wants photos of the person behind them. She wants photos of the person in front of them. She wants things to make them look, because we humanize our victims. That's one of the things that Olivia and I work very hard when we go out into these scenes, that we humanize the victims. We find out when we get people to look at them and love them and their heart break that they're missing, we find that they're people are a force to be reckoned with in helping find missing children. So we have this clever way of humanizing the victims, and how we do that is through visual aids when we are interviewing people. So the interview was done by Olivia. The reason why we have all these things, had it been, and you can check and you can fact check me on this, because every single interview they have given to anyone, they do not have a picture of their son. Because Olivia set this up like this. I know, because I've worked with her so long, that I know her MO. I know how she sets stuff up when she interviews people. If they don't have photos of the people, she wants photos of the people, right? So that's why this one and no other video they ever had shows Sebastian in the background, is because this is Olivia's MO. She's the one that did this interview.
Okay. There was something I was going to ask you. Okay, so I did want to go back to where you had said that you didn't think he ran away and that he ran away. So what do you think?
I don't have.
This is a loaded question. This is a loaded question because you'll hear that they don't specifically, we don't know exactly when this leak call happened. okay? One thing that nobody ever told us, this is not the first time we've heard the leak call. The leak call was leaked very early on because it pissed Seth off, because these people were supposed to be working for him. They're withholding information from Seth, but they're somehow leaking it on their channels, and everybody else has this information, and the father's finding out through social media when they are supposed to be his PI. All of this stuff should have been handed over. That's why I say don't hire Chloe or this lady, Heather, because they withheld information from their client. You don't have the right to withhold information. That's not your information to withhold. When you have a client, anything that you find is your client's information. They're incompetent. This is what you get when you have people that are not forced to work under other PIs. And that's what they did. They went and they did a book class, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 they're PIs. Here in the state of Florida, you have to work under a PI. You have to show that you're proficient in laws before you ever have a PI license. You got to do that for 2 years. You're not getting a license here. That's why I know SF lied on his license. I know for a fact he did. Unscrupulous PI. I'm going to get his license out of the state of Florida. Trust me, I'm working on it. I won't be done until I'm done. He's going to have to prove. I'm going to have everybody deposed. All the people he's worked for. Make sure he has the requisite time. And trust me, I have the ability to do that. Withheld information, got rid of evidence. Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff. This is the father. This is who this lady worked for. All this conversation was not authorized. And she's withholding information. But this leak call managed to get out even though Seth had no idea about it. Had no idea with their conversation. He should have been the next call from Heather with a full explanation and a debriefing of their conversation if she was worth her salt, which she's not. I don't like internet PIs. You'll find that out. I'm anti-internet PI. I will always tell everybody on here, if they're asking me what PI to get, I'm going to tell them a local one. A local one with a brick and mortar, one that you can feel, touch, and see. That's who I'm going to recommend them go to. I'm not going to recommend them to any internet PI. None. I do not like internet PIs. If you're an internet PI and you do great work, I'm happy to look at your information, but I will never recommend you to a client. Ever. Unless you're in their community and you have a reputable, like Jason Jensen. He's now on social media, but he's our legit PI. Anybody in Utah, I'll be sending to Jason Jensen because I know how he works. I know he's legit.
He ran away. So what do you think?
Neither one of us have an idea.
Yeah.
All we can tell you is that's why I asked you what you exactly know of this case, what Seth has told you.
He is so interested in finding out who knows what. This is another major red flag. Chris was one of the first people going around to the neighbors to see all of the camera angles and who had what, who picked up what. He was there before law enforcement. Now he's on the phone with her, and because he's a master manipulator, she's too stupid to realize he's the one interviewing her. She's not interviewing him. But again, this is the difference between somebody with scruples and somebody with no scruples.
Makes it easier for us to fill in the blanks.
Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because your client has an idea in his head, and that is his narrative, and that's what he is painting.
Oh.
So
A narrative. Law enforcement said a child went into the house that they're in right now with that lady. And she woke up the next morning and her son was gone. The problem is there's not one video where her son is leaving the home or walking out. There is only one, actually there's multiple videos showing a car at the end of the road and flashlights going to it, despite what law enforcement wants you to believe. Because that was a piece of information, credible information that went to the integrity of the investigation that law enforcement did not want out. And instead of just embracing the fact that it's out, they want to lie to the people, further diminishing their stance in people's mind. We think Sumner County's a bunch of liars, because they are. They're incompetent and they're unprofessional. They don't know how to deal with this. They don't know how to deal with this. And then we got this asshat here saying that, that the father is driving a narrative. What narrative? The child went into this home and never left this home. That's what law enforcement said. As a father, I would be listening to that, and I'd be very, very, very concerned about what happened to my child that went into this house and didn't walk out of this house. That these two people are trying to convince the whole world that this child walked out of, but law enforcement is saying, wait, not so fast. This child never left this home.
I just need to know what's being said, and I'll fill you in.
Well, the thing is about Seth.
I just need to know what is being said. Why? Your story shouldn't change based upon what somebody else is saying, right? They wanted to fill in the blanks. Why not just tell their side of the story? But they don't want to because they want to hear what everybody else is saying about them. That is another red flag. Parents don't act like this, and listen to how cavalier and coy and cold-hearted they sound. They have a missing child, and they don't seem to be concerned about the missing child, only what people are saying about them. Huge red flag.
And that is his narrative, and that's what he is painting.
Oh.
So I just need to know what's being said. And I'll fill you in.
The thing is about Seth that I don't think he's kind of just back and forth about things,
And see, that's where he's stupid and he's wrong.
Well, he doesn't know. He doesn't know if he was lured. He doesn't know if something happened in the house. I just have to say that or if, and he doesn't know if he ran away. Like he doesn't know.
Well, see here, let me help you something. If something happened in the house, that should never be a statement that comes out of your mouth or his.
See? Woo! Triggered! Something happened inside that house. Because the only time he gets hot and under the collar is when somebody calls him out on his bullshit. Something happened inside that house. Something happened inside that house. To tell people that they don't need it. I think something happened inside that house. I'd love to see this Yahoo tell me to shut my mouth. He might go to jail if he does. So I don't think he will. But I definitely think something happened in the house. I think his disgusting piece of shit wife did it. I think he helped her cover up a crime.
Fucking mouth for that matter. Because quite honestly, law enforcement has already vetted all that shit. No, and there's nothing. There's no...
No, they haven't. No, they haven't. Otherwise, they would have cleared these fuckers. They haven't cleared them.
Reason to insinuate, no reason to make that comment.
Well,
long statement that comes out.
I'm gonna go back. Because I love hearing this man lose his shit. I love him being triggered.
He doesn't know.
Well, see here, let me help you something. If something happened in the house, that should never be a statement that comes out of your mouth or his fucking mouth.
Wait, did you listen to that? Let's listen to what he says. It says, if something happened in this house. So he's starting out with, if something happened in this house. If something happened in this house, nobody should be speaking it out of their mouth, is basically what he's saying after that. If something, listen to the words that come out of his mouth. Okay? Go.
He doesn't know.
Right here. Listen.
Well, see here, let me help you something. If something happened in the house, that should never be a statement that comes out of your mouth or his fucking mouth.
So basically, even if something happened at the house, if something happened at the house, we shouldn't be saying anything about it. Shouldn't be coming out of your mouth or anybody else's mouth, for a matter of fact. So he's implying that there's a possibility something could have happened in the house. He just doesn't want anybody talking about it. Is that slippage, leakage, whatever the word you want to use for it? Possibly. If something happened in the house, nobody should be saying it out of their effing mouth. Huh. Interesting statement. If something happened. Nothing happened in the house, and that shouldn't be brought up. It's if something happened in the house, that should have never come out of your effing mouth. Huh. Interesting statement. Okay, let's keep going.
For that matter, because quite honestly, law enforcement has already vetted all that shit, and there's nothing.
They vetted all that stuff just like Chris took the polygraph when he didn't take the polygraph. That's right. That's right. They're cleared, folks. They're cleared. Nothing to see over here. Nothing to see over here.
There's no reason to insinuate, no reason to make that comment.
Well, I mean, I'm just being transparent with you
I know
because
you're being frank, but I'm being extremely frank with you.
yeah.
If there was something in there that they think had an issue, they would have already have gone down that route.
That is not true. That's such a misconception, but you know what? He's not a professional true crimey. We know that when in a situation like this, they, for whatever reason, especially in Tennessee, because they're incompetent and idiots, at the leadership of Bill Lee. Let's not forget that. I'm going after the frickin' Republicans in the state of Tennessee until they start acting right. We know that's not true. They like to build their case. They like to make sure they have all their I's dotted, their T's crossed. Usually in Tennessee, for them to take a parent, I mean, look at Summer Wells, for example. Piece of shit parents abuse kids. They wouldn't take them to court for the abuse and all the things they did to their children unrelated to Summer Wells. They just let them go scot-free. Welcome to Tennessee, where you can kill your kid and walk free amongst them for years without being held accountable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know anything about what law enforcement is thinking or what they're doing. You know as well as I do, they don't share that with me, and they don't have to, and I don't expect them to.
Exactly.
Exactly. Okay. So now we have that, right? And in my opinion, that interview shed a lot of lights on a lot of different things. I feel like there was a lot of leakage, Freudian slips, if you will, in that limited amount of conversation. I'd like to hear clearly. This lady has recorded many conversations. Why has she still not turned those over to Seth yet is beyond me. I think Seth should probably go after her and sue her and get all of that if he hasn't already. But all of that needs to be turned over. At the end of the day, we also had a new person. Now, this person, I have mixed feelings about. In all fairness, I don't lie to my audience. It's Nerdy Addict. Nerdy Addict has lied about me. The amount of leakage that requires depends. Yeah, maybe. But, oh, hey, Mama Bear. It's good to see you. Happy Friday to you, too. But Nerdy Addict, I'm a little, have mixed emotions because I like people naturally. I don't know why he doesn't like me. I think he doesn't like me because of my relationship with Jonathan early on, and Jonathan wasn't really a liked person. I just didn't know a lot about Jonathan when I first started dating him. I didn't know how horrible or evil he was as a human being. But now that I know. You can't know what you know. And so I don't know if that's the reason why Nerdy Addict didn't like me, or if that was just a lie that him and Jonathan weren't really fighting, that was just a way to set me up. Because Jonathan has a lot of information about me that I had no idea he was trying to extract from me. He utilized a lot of different mechanisms, including calling me up or having one of his friends call me up and saying I was meeting the president so they could extract my social security number. Like, he was very sneaky, very conniving, very unlawful and legal, just to get some information about me. That's how slimy he is. And so all of this was going on about the time that he's saying he doesn't like Nerdy Addict, but I also knew Nerdy Addict is he breaks into people's electronics. He does a lot of hacking. He's a hacker. I've known him as being a hacker. That's how I was introduced to him. I didn't know he had X channels or YouTube channels or anything. I've known him as a hacker. The whole time I've been involved in politics, the whole time I was out in front of Gabby Petito's home, he was known to me as a hacker. Okay, he was introduced to me as a hacker, as the one that the reason why he was out there at Gabby's was to get into, find out what information was on their internet. So he was outside of the house hacking. So that's how I knew Nerdy Addict. That's how I was introduced to Nerdy Addict. That's what Jonathan told me Nerdy Addict was there for and what Nerdy Addict was doing. Well, we ended up finding Gabby Petito's water bottle, and he basically, told his whole audience that we were lying, that I was a liar, all of this, that, and the other. And I'm like, why is this guy attacking me? Like, we didn't do anything to him. Obviously, we know where we found the bottle. We know that it wasn't picked up. We did everything we were supposed to do. We called law enforcement, had them come out there. We didn't touch the item. We asked we got it all recorded too. We've got it recorded. Us asking law enforcement, take the bottle, please take the bottle. And they told us no. And it wasn't until later that, like an hour later, when we realized it truly was her bottle, that it was inside their search area and somebody logged it but forgot to collect it. Now we've got the FBI blowing up our phone, telling us to take it down to the Northport Police Department. And this Nerdy Addict is telling his entire audience that we were lying. And that he knew for a fact we were lying, and he was going to show his audience, but never brought the receipts. And then all of a sudden, I see him at, after being called, just going through all kinds of shit over something that was truthful that he spread around was a lie. He was one of the main people that was going around telling everybody that this was a lie. He was one of them. And then I saw him at Leilani's. Dolly and I were at Leilani's. We were looking or searching or something like that, and we saw this car pulled off to the side of the road and put up a drone. And so we're like, okay, let's go check out this person. Is somebody trying to spy on us, or are they looking for this kid, and who are they? And so we pull up, and it's Nerdy Addict, and he's got a driver, and he's got his machine hanging out the door, and he's putting up his drone to take aerials. And so we had an opportunity to speak, and I'm like, and he's like, and when Dolly hollered back, it's a guy named Nerdy Addict, and I'm like, so I bolt out of my car, right? I'm like, let me tell you something. And he's like, how you doing? I said, not planting evidence. Oh, you did. I said I was sorry you didn't get that memo, that statement. I told everybody in my audience that we found out that wasn't true. Well, why did you spread it around? You sit there and spread it around, but anyways, the good Christian woman that I am, I'm like, okay, no harm, no foul, right? Thought maybe this would be a great starting point for me and Nerdy Addict to have some common ground on. Well, he lied again. So now this is the second or third time this man has lied that I've caught him in lies. One was about the bottle. That was a big one for me because, first of all, you're telling everybody that you have confirmed this. There is no possibility of you confirming this because it was real. It was real. And now we have Gabby's own father saying it's real. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Did Bullhorn Betty and Chronicles of Olivia find Gabby Petito's water bottle? The answer is yes. Did we turn it in? Did we do the right thing? Did we want to make sure that the family got it? The answer is yes. And not one person, not one of these assholes that always come to me and say, when I make a mistake, I need to own up to it. Not one person has ever apologized for spreading around misinformation about me with this water bottle. So why am I saying this dissertation about this? Is because now we have Nerdy Addict involved in the Sebastian Rogers case. I reached out to Nerdy Addict when I saw, because I think I unsubscribed from him from X. I was done. At this point, I'm just like, I've tried as much as I can to support and be friendly with Nerdy Addict, and every time I turn around, he shits on me, and I'm done. I don't need people like that. He's a junkie. He can't keep himself clean. I don't trust him. Period. Okay? Period. I don't trust him. So I give him another opportunity, and once again, he wants to rub egg all in my face because I simply said, if you go out there and meet with Chris and your senses aren't off, then you're a shitty investigator. So maybe I kind of poked the bear a little bit. But him acting like that yet again, I'm uncredible when it's been him that's been passing around the bunk and misinformation. And I can prove that? Lover girl, it's nice to see you. I heard somebody say hi to, where is it? I just thought, Subaru Steve. I don't see Subaru Steve in the chat, but I'm hearing somebody say hi to him. So hi, Subaru Steve. I hope you're well. I hope you're still keeping up the good fight. So now we're here, Nerdy Addict's involved, and so right off the bat I decided, you know, because I'm pretty sure I unfollowed him on X because I didn't want to get into another fight with him or block him, or maybe I did block him. I have no idea what I did. I got upset with the last comment he made. I'm like, fuck you, fuck everybody, you know me. When everybody pisses me off, it's fuck you, fuck them, fuck everybody, right? So that's just kind of how I roll, you know, I just tell you to kick rocks. So I'm like, you know what, this is your fault. This is your fault because you tell your audience that I lied. And you're the one that passed that around. So I was done with that. I'm just like, fuck you, you know, whatever. And then I come in here. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and check this out. Let me see what in the world, if he found anything, what he has to say. So I went to his site and said, okay, let's look and see what's going on here. Or maybe maybe it was Lisa. I think it might have been Lisa B. Always sent it to me. I was done. And I think Lisa B. Always, if I had to remember exactly what happened, I think that's what happened. Lisa B. Always sent me something, and I'm like, this asshole again, right? And so I decided to read it, and I'm like, okay, well, now he's starting to get it. And this is what he says. He says, regarding Sebastian Rogers' live stream. So he's out there, he's running. I told him to be careful of Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot. He basically told me to go fuck off. And I'm like, okay, well then screw you. You know, you want to be an idiot? Go be an idiot. Be a dumbass. If you want to be a dumbass, I don't really care. I don't trust him. I'm not going to lie. I don't trust Nerdy Addict. For a variety of reasons. One of those reasons is because he can't keep his ass clean. Okay? I've been clean for years. Now, granted, I'm not on the same crap as he has, but you know what? If this business is keeping him unclean and unhealthy, maybe he needs to get with a sponsor and fix himself up before he comes back. I don't know. I don't care. It's not my problem. Not my monkey, not my circus. But now he's starting to see what everybody else sees. After he wants to be disrespectful and criticize Bullhorn Betty, which of course, fine. You already lied about me. I could care less about you. But now you want to dog me and then ha ha ha. Right? Just desserts. Just desserts. Mother. Just saying. Not playing. Want to be rude to me? Ha 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 to you. Regarding the Sebastian Rogers live stream, this was the second time it was pushed. And not because of me. Both Stephen and Chris confirmed yesterday they would join. Then went radio silence until I posted on X. 60 seconds after I mentioned that I'd be revealing information they didn't want disclosed, Chris Proudfoot called me on my cell, which means he saw the earlier tweet explaining I had to delay 15 minutes because they had gone silent. They ghosted him. That confirmed everything for me. I don't play games. I don't tolerate disrespect. It actually works out better this way because now I can disclose those details. See everyone tomorrow. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. And so him and his audience wanted to be disrespectful to Bullhorn Betty and say that I'm not a credible source. I'm not a credible source. I spent a lot of time down here, and of all people, Nerdy Addict has watched me on the Gabby Petito case and has watched me on the Leilani Simon case, and for him to still keep passing around to his blessed people that I'm not a reliable source is bullshit, especially since he's the only one that's been caught lying. Just saying. Just saying. So now he finally sees what everybody else sees, right? Chris is full of shit. Steve, unscrupulous PI, full of shit. So now we had a person that doesn't even like Bullhorn Betty investigating the case, actually believing these idiots, and boom, doesn't take him long to hit pay dirt and realize these people are shady as shit. So now, Nerdy Addict, now that you disrespected Betty like the third time, I really could care less because you're a fucking idiot. You're always going to be a fucking idiot. You want to sit here and say that I'm not a credible source when I investigated the crap out of this case. I've made my assessments to this case. I investigated the crap out of Gabby Petito's case. The only person caught lying is you. I hope you've changed your ways. But at this point, with your disrespect to me, you can kiss my white breaded ass. And I can promise you I'm not an enemy you want to have. I can promise you that. I hope that we can work on this in the future. But for right now, Nerdy, just desserts. That's all I've got to say. Just desserts. So let's look and see what all he has here. The following are off the record warrant Sebastian behavioral stuff and stuff about the dogs. So he writes here, people suggest that Chris Proudfoot's statements differ from the past ones is a reflection of him, not me. The live wasn't about comparing his words, especially since I've never watched his interviews. My only goal is to accurately share the conversation I had. When I said on X that Caden Spite shot himself in the leg, people doubted it, but it turned out to be true. My lane is mine to control. There are never a reason to lie about a case, except if Betty's involved, of course. And continued, because I stepped up to the plate and I told him about Chris, and he wanted to shoot me down and be disrespectful to me yet again. So I have no reason to lie about a case, but Nerdy Addict has been caught lying in a case. Let's just put it out like that. If other statements shift, that's their lane, not mine. Interesting. So now Nerdy Addict went out there wanting to act like he was Mr. King Big Shit, right? That everybody else, it's always everybody else. It's always everybody else. It's never him, never anybody, right? Betty's wrong. Betty's just a bitch. Betty doesn't know what she's talking about. She's not a reliable source, right? Right, Nerdy? Not a reliable source. But yet you had to lie about Betty. And now you come into this case, which, you know, if you're going to do good work, I don't, you know, at the end of the day, I don't want to push anybody out that could help find this child, right? And if he's a hacker, hack away. You know, hack away. Give us something that we can use, right? Anything for the benefit. I'll work with my worst enemy to bring a child home, right? This is not my worst enemy, I can tell you that. But he sure does piss me off, right? And until he stops disrespecting me, I'm not going to stop disrespecting him. It's just that simple. And I really could care less. So let's listen to this. This is interesting. This comes from Hindsight, but this is based upon Nerdy Addict. This is something Nerdy Addict said. I couldn't find it. It was here from Hindsight. Hindsight, many of you guys know, Mama Rissa, BMW Coupe. Hindsight, they have a special place in my heart. They work their ass off. They help these cases. They do it free of charge. They work their ass off to find the truth. And those are the people I like. Those are the people I like to surround myself with. Those are the people that I value. Even if the information's not spot on, not the theory didn't pan out or whatever the case may be, I don't care. Because they're working it, and they're working it honestly, right? They're not making stuff up. They're not doing things to get people, get attention. They're just doing the best that they can with what they've got, and they present it to the public. And I can't express how important that is from all types of creators. When you do stuff like that, it's beneficial to everybody. It's beneficial to everybody. So here we go.
Fast forward. And this is the most significant piece of information. And I'm going to disclose it, and I'm going to put it out on Twitter now. Roughly 1 year after Sebastian Rogers went missing, law enforcement descended on his residence and executed a search warrant. They seized multiple electronic devices.
This is the first time we've heard this. This is what we're hearing. I want you guys pay attention. This is new information. If you're doing timeline work, you're going to want to pay attention. So they're basically saying February 2nd, 2025, just several months ago, this happened.
Fast forward, and this is the most significant piece of information. I'm going to disclose it, and I'm going to put it out on Twitter now. Roughly 1 year after Sebastian Rogers went missing, law enforcement descended on his residence and executed a search warrant. They seized multiple electronic devices, and this is the interesting part to me. So they confiscated laptops and more, and it's...
Remember, this February 2nd that everybody was so concerned about, this is the time when everybody was implying that that was them being served the warrant for them to appear in court for me. This February 2nd. Well, Nerdy Addict is saying that based upon his information, that is inaccurate. They actually served a warrant on them for their electronics. That's what he's saying. Everybody asked about this, and we were told that this was because of my case. Remember that this was because of my case. And now he's saying, no, this was an actual search warrant being issued.
So they confiscated laptops and more. And it's interesting because, again, this is hearsay. This is someone telling me that they had already given over these devices willingly.
Hold on.
And more. And it's interesting because, again, this is hearsay. This is someone telling me that they had already given over these devices willingly. Okay. So this is the information where I've been saying on X where it's problematic, because you can look at it either way. Those who work true crime have to think about a judge signing off on a search warrant, right? There needs to be probable cause. And I asked to see that search warrant or what the probable cause was. And the response was that it's sealed.
So they're saying, and that would make sense though, because most of these cases, most of these search warrants, as we learned into Brian Koberger case, because there was a lot of warrants that were issued, those were all sealed until they went to court. And then when they had to produce them for court, they sealed them in the court records so nobody could get them. So we know that these warrants are going on in a sealed way, sealed for a grand jury. Probably, they probably are sealed for a grand jury. But remember, this was 4/2. This is when everybody was like, wait a minute, they're getting a search warrant served on them. And they kept trying to imply that it had to do with my court hearing. My court hearing. Well, he's saying no, that they served a search warrant on the family for their electronics after they had already received their electronics back. That's what's being alleged here. I don't know one way or another, because again, when we were talking about it before, we were told that it was based upon my hearing, that there was no search warrant. That might have been a lie.
And more. And it's interesting because, again, this is hearsay. This is someone telling me that they had already given over these devices willingly. Okay. So this is the information where I've been saying on X where it's problematic, because you can look at it either way. Those who work true crime have to think about a judge signing off on a search warrant, right? There needs to be probable cause. And I asked to see that search warrant or what the probable cause was. And the response was that it's sealed. Police confiscated 3 cameras in addition to all the other electronic devices, okay? And those 3 cameras were added after Sebastian went missing. One of those cameras was from Chris Proudfoot's daughter's room. Apparently they installed a camera in her room after Sebastian went missing, and 2 other.
We did hear, guys, listen to this. This is why I'm saying that this whole February 2nd, I think we were intentionally misled. But you know, law enforcement keeps doing that, right? Law enforcement keeps doing that. Anyways, I got nothing. I think Eric Craddock's a piece of shit and needs to be removed from office. That's my personal belief. I'm going to keep fighting for him to never hold another public position ever again. We'll find out if I have the equipment to get it done. We'll find out over time, right? But we did hear that they did install cameras after Sebastian disappeared. It made a lot of us very upset. Like, why didn't they do this before? He was medically needy. She worked for Brinks. Why did they not have the necessary stuff in and around the house to protect their child? We don't know. But we did hear after the fact that there was cameras installed in their house. Well, we're finding out that those cameras were taken by law enforcement that April 2nd day. That day that they said that they were just being served for my paperwork.
Chris Proudfoot's daughter's room. Apparently, they installed a camera in her room after Sebastian went missing, and 2 other cameras. People are saying I'm choppy. Could be bandwidth. I don't know. Okay. So they confiscated 3 cameras that were added in the home after Sebastian went missing, which was interesting to me. One of those cameras was placed in Chris Proudfoot's daughter's room. I believe she's 8 years old. Police confiscated those cameras with the search warrant that was executed. I don't know what evidence led them to obtain a search warrant from a judge. We know that's sealed now.
Every legal document that's served is considered a warrant of some sort, whether it's a subpoena or some type of warrant.
That's why they came right out to explain that this was about me. It was Chris and his family that tried to say it was just the warrant for my court hearing, and here we're finding out that that's a lie.
Listed as a warrant.
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things.
Shit. I wish I would have grabbed that before. I wish I would have realized that was going to come on, because I'm going to end up having to probably... I'll probably have to cut the whole segment out for that little bit. We'll find out. But either way. So now we see what the issue is. Like, we were told. Oh, this is my start the impeachment process. Oh, I don't think that's going to be for this show. That's for my advocacy. I'm trying to get some of these judges. I got to do some legal work on it. I'm trying to get some of these activist judges impeached from their bench. So it's going to take a little bit. Some of the other stuff I do behind the scenes that nobody knows that I work on. Anyways, long story short is we have a situation where Nerdy Addict, and again, I had no problem with Nerdy Addict. Nerdy Addict had a problem with Bullhorn Betty. Nerdy Addict lied about Bullhorn Betty. Nerdy Addict has set target on Bullhorn Betty. I thought it was resolved, but then after me speaking to him on his X account and the way he handled me on his X account, and he's just fine with people believing that I'm not a good source when he's the one that lied about me, it really does, upset me. And it makes me want to stand up here and explain this to you guys, because I don't want people blindly following this man whenever he's lied previously. And he said it was fact. And I would like him to publicly walk it back. And he said he did, but I've never heard it. I've never seen it on his channel. I went back to look after Quentin Simon's case. I never saw it. His people are still acting like that me and Olivia planted a freaking water bottle because of him. And then he's wanting to come here and tell us, oh, we need to listen to him when he's been caught being dishonest previously. So I've got problems here. I would love to be a friendly to Nerdy Addict. Again, I didn't do anything to him. You've never heard me say anything bad about Nerdy Addict up until this point. Ever. But it also has to do with the fact of his comment that he made to me on X just recently. So I've got nothing to say nice about him at this moment. Just desserts. I hope he changes his way, and I hope he tells his audience the truth. I really do. Because at the end of the day, I have been truthful. I have been honest. I've had integrity at this job. People make mistakes, as he does, clearly, right? The difference is everybody wants me to apologize for my mistake, but nobody wants to have to own up to their mistake. So, Nerdy, I'm going to ask you, tell the truth. Tell the truth about the bottle. Tell your people you lied to them. That's what I want you to do. Delilah. Hey. Come. your butt in here. Come here. Come. What are you doing? What are you doing? Who are you barking at now? Come on. Come say hi to everybody. Who are you barking? What are you doing? What are you doing, sis? See, Mommy, you've been on so long. I need to get some of this extra energy out of me. Who was it? Who was here? Was somebody here? Go get him. Go get him. Go get him, Delilah. All right, somebody's at my door. Looky what I got. Looky what I got. Miss Brenda. Make sure there's nothing on this side. Make sure I'm not toxing you. What? You were barking. I didn't hear Mr. Glenn at the door. I just heard the barking. I thought she was barking at a phantom and it was the doorbell. I didn't hear the doorbell. So Brenda sent me, I bet you anything, I know what this is. Make sure I'm not doxing anybody. I can smell it from the road. Some Tony's espresso. It says, Betty, you need some more coffee. Enjoy. Love, Brenda. Well, I thank you. You're gonna have to wait your turn. I'm very, very sorry. I'm very, very sorry. It's not for you. And of course, I get my water bill. How in the hell did I get something from... And I don't need any more credit. Good gracious. I hate... You know what? They punish you for not using credit. That's what they do. They want you in debt in America. I can't stand it. They literally want you in debt. They want to make everything where you can't... You're always paying somebody something, that you never really own your stuff, right? Back in the day when houses were made, people bought their houses outright. There was no financing houses, all right? You know, you either had the money to live in a house or you didn't. You bought it outright, but houses were only $10,000 or $15,000. You would get a whole house with furniture and everything for $15,000 or $20,000. Now they're $500,000. Cut it out, right? Your cars. You used to buy a car for $1,000. You didn't need car payments on $1,000. You borrowed it from Aunt Millie and you paid them back. You didn't have financing for vehicles. They want you in debt. America wants you in debt. They always want you paying somebody something for something. All right? They punish you. Like if you are 50 years old and never had a credit card, bought a house, bought a car, paid for everything free and clear, everything outright, and for the first time in the world you want to get credit, even though you've had 50 years of living within your means. Living within your means, 50 years of living within your means, and now you say, okay, well, I want a credit card for the first time, right? Now you're going to be paying 29% interest on that credit card because you got no credit history, even though you have lived 50 years without debt. That seems like that somebody that lives without debt seems like a much smarter person than somebody that lives in debt. Just my opinion. What is Seth saying here? Get over here and see what you're writing. Let me see what kind of horse shit you're writing here, Mr. Rogers. I'm just going. Creep, cringe, with cameras in the kids' room. Yeah, that is really weird. Why would they have some in her room? That is weird. That is really, really weird. To have, like, we've had him in, you know, common areas and outside of the bedrooms, but to actually have a camera inside. Well, I mean, she's younger, but age 8, that seems a little too old to be having cameras in the little girl's room. It just is. Now, you know, maybe 3, 4 and under, 5 and under, okay. 6 and under, I think 6 is probably the oldest that you need to be having a nanny cam in the room. You know? Seems a little weird. Yeah, it is kind of weird. He sure is that disgusting to put cameras in his daughter's room. You're right. You're right. Yeah, I paid more for my car than I did for my first house. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just it's one of those things where it's just like if you look at our history, our government has really put us in debt. Our government has taxed us as much as they can tax us, and every time they can't tax us anymore, they find out another clever way to keep us under you know, under surveillance and at their beck and call. I mean, we used to have cash. How many of you guys walk around with cash this day and age? Probably very limited of you. I mean, I'm lucky if I pull $20 out to keep in my wallet in case of an emergency where I can't use a credit card. Most of us don't even do that anymore. Most of us don't even do I stole my car. One of my dad's coworker, he, you know, because he owned his own electrical business, but he wanted to hire, and this is why he never hired employees again, is because he hired one. I remember his name was Rick Fry. And Rick Fry robbed him and not robbed him like gunpoint robbed him, but, you know, stole his truck with all of his supplies and stole from my father. And it was somebody that he liked, he trusted, he believed in. He sent him off to other jobs, and he took off and was doing stuff with his product behind his back on other jobs over the weekend. Like, even if you were to do like friends stuff on the weekend, use your own supplies. You don't take your employer's supplies and put them on your friend's house and charge your friend money. Like, it's just, you know, people. But whatever. Anyways, all right, guys, there you go. There's your information. What do we have for the Sebastian Rogers case? He still has not been found in almost 2 years. His mom and stepfather still making suspicious statements. It sounds like Nerdy Addict again. I don't want to, you know, I've been a little nasty to him because I deserve to be nasty to him. But at the end of the day, I really do hope that, you know, Other Eyes helps find some information about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want Nerdy Addict to be successful, because I feel like if Nerdy Addict is successful, then Sebastian is successful, you know? So I don't want a dog, but again, I also don't want people being disrespectful to me when I've done nothing wrong just because this jackass decided to tell his audience a lie. And that's unfair. It's absolutely unfair. And even with all of that, I'm still not lying about him, because he can absolutely come here and know everything I'm saying is true. Every bit of it is true. Everything I said that he said about me is true. The whole story, the way it was, is true. It's true. So, you know, I don't want to hear him bitching about Betty, because he's did that enough. It's my turn. So I hope that he's doing better. I hope that he gets this right. I hope he understands that the reason why I said what I said about Chris is I knew Chris was going to give him, you know, the bullshit. And what does Chris do? He brings the bullshit. And he did not fail with Nerdy Addict. Probably a bad thing, because I do hope Nerdy Addict was around his house. If he's the hacker that he is, hopefully he's got the information we need. We'll find out. Anyways, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you soon later this afternoon.